Good evening, ladies. This one's for you. Welcome to So to Speak. I'm Evan Mead.
I'm Lyle Groninger.
And I'm Cody. Just Cody.
Just Cody. Oh, from the 90s.
Yeah, Cody from the 90s, hey.
Are any of the things you're going to talk about tonight from the 90s?
Yeah, kinda. I guess one.
Oh, one?
She made some movies in the 90s.
One
One of my picks, yeah.
One of my picks made one of the best movies in the 90s.
Oh, one of my picks made arguably one of the best movies from the 90s too. So, okay, if you're wondering, we're going to talk about female directors.
Yeah.
We wanted to do this for a long time, but to be honest,
we got postponed like twice trying to make this episode.
Well, yeah, that's what happens when you get COVID and your whole fucking social life is disrupted.
Yeah.
Lyle and I, our apartment is a quarantine zone. I have to wear fucking masks outside my bedroom, and
it got postponed because our lawyers were like, "Ixnay on the Umenzay."
Whoa.
No, I'm joking. And even actually, Veronica was like, "Oh, hey, you're going to hang out with Lyle and Evan tomorrow. Are you podcasting?" I went, "Yeah." She went, "Oh, what's the subject on?" I went, "Female director." She went, "Oh, okay, have fun." I'll be like, "Don't worry, I'm going to be an absolute sexist pig the whole time."
Oh, you scamp!
Oh,
boys will be boys.
That's our Cody. No.
Okay.
Okay. So, unlike some of our director episodes where we usually highlight one, we decided each to give a spotlight for 3 separate directors.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you picked a specific theme for any of yours. Mine, I picked mostly cult directors.
There was no theme. I just picked the...
You picked some big ones.
No, I picked the 3 biggest female directors I could think of, and where I feel kind of ashamed for admitting this, but there aren't... Typically, our rule of thumb when Lyle and I kind of banter about movies is that you can only call yourself familiar with a director's work if you have seen at the very least 3 of their movies. And that's what I had to do for all the directors. For all these directors, I had seen at least 2 of some of their picks. I had seen at least 1 of their picks, but I had to watch their other work to get familiar with their directing style.
It's interesting. At my picks, I have one that I've seen 3. I have one that I've seen 2. And I have one that I've seen only 1.
Well, I'll
explain.
And on that subject, Cody, I think a lot of yours are quite gems.
They're gems. They're gems because of my taste. But I'll get into them more. But like all 3 of these women, I just feel like I would click with them pretty well because I admire their style, and it's something that like is inspiring. Actually, like it's nice. I'll get into it more. I don't want to give it away too soon, but you go first, Evan.
Yeah, okay. Much like our book episode, you're gonna dump all 3 of yours in a row.
Yeah, so but then you guys get to do the same.
And we'll go, and so we have cups of water next to us to save our throats.
Okay,
tell us your ladies.
Yes. Okay, so first lady I want to discuss is Ava DuVernay. Now, I really hope I pronounced her name correctly. Ava DuVernay?
DuVernay,
yeah.
Is it DuVernay or DuVernay?
I don't know.
Okay, so, Ava Marie DuVernay, born August 24th, 1972, is an American filmmaker, television producer, and film publicist. She won the directing...
Are you going to rate her Wikipedia page?
Well, that's...
For all 3 of them?
No, I'm not going to, like...
How about you talk about why you picked Ava DuVernay?
That's a good point.
I'm curious.
So, like, I picked her because...
She's really hot right now.
The first movie of her... I'm going to talk about 3 of her movies, but she caught my eye. Initially, the movie Selma got a ton of Oscar buzz at the Oscars in 2015, but because they played the song "Glory" at least I think it's called "Glory" at the awards in 2015, and like that was the year Birdman won Best Picture, and Whiplash and Boyhood were all nominated. So, but I didn't get the chance to see Selma. It looked like a really powerful movie, but in preparation for this episode, I actually watched it. But the first thing I ever saw of Ava's was A Netflix documentary called 13th. Now,
nice.
have either of you seen 13th?
I actually haven't seen this yet.
I'll be quite transparent. I haven't seen her work yet.
Okay.
I've seen Selma. It's good. I just haven't seen it in a long time.
Okay, fair enough. So the 13th is a documentary about how it covers essentially systemic racism in the United States. It starts with a quote at the time President Barack Obama pointing out that despite the fact that the United States makes up about 5% of the world's population, it has 25% of the world's criminals. And it's like, how the fuck is that possible if like a fourth of the convicts on this planet are all in the United States? It explains, the for-profit prison system, how the war on drugs, the war on crime, it was all grounded in systemic racism that never really went away. And the argument is, well, it's called the 13th because the 13th Amendment is what theoretically killed slavery in the country. But the argument is it never, the slavery and the prejudice never really went away.
It was never abolished.
Slavery was never truly abolished. It just got repackaged because throughout the centuries there was segregation, and even to this very fucking day you have, crackpot Republicans or politicians in general,
or as Chris Rock might have said in one of his bits, he's like, slavery may have been abolished and all that, but personally, I just think it got renamed to the NBA. That's Chris Rock's joke. He's like, you can buy him and trade him and sell him, but just put a sport around it, I guess.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
Put a sport around it.
Chris Rock made an edgy joke, huh? Did it slap?
Oh, dude, on my Letterboxd, I completely put on my watch list G.I. Jane 2. I can't wait to see it. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Hey, I have a message from Will here.
Oh.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth!
This is the greatest moment in podcasting history.
Anyway, sorry. Dude, this documentary, the 13th, was actually the first documentary to ever open at the New York Film Festival.
Wow.
Ever?
That's
ever.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I just looked up a fun fact on it.
Yeah. Well, that's really great. So, it's a very powerful movie. If you want to get the Coles Notes or a starter on the long and sad history of systemic racism in the United States, Ava DuVernay's documentary 13th does a beautiful job, and it's very tactful too. And what I like about it is it isn't preachy and it isn't partisan. It's just it shows how both left-leaning politicians or theoretically left-leaning politicians like Democrats and Republicans have had long, sad... It initially started with KKK members supporting the Democrats, and then gradually the support kind of went to Republicans because it was the Republicans around the time of the Civil Rights Movement that repackaged racism and talked about fighting crime and fighting drugs.
Right.
And they talk about how it was Nixon that started the war on drugs, but Reagan actually laid the groundwork for the war on drugs because how Nancy, his first lady, was very big on. She had the Just Say No campaign, and then of course it's.
Have you seen her other works?
Well, speaking of the Civil Rights Movement, the next movie I want to talk about actually is it's not really a biopic, but it's all about the Civil Rights Movement. It talks about Selma, released in 2014 and got some Oscar praise in 2015. That movie tells the story of how Martin Luther King met with President Lyndon Johnson, because Lyndon Johnson is the president that signed the Civil Rights Act, which segregation ended in the United States theoretically, but a lot of the southern states, specifically Alabama, where Dr. King was from, that's where racism raged on. And the whole premise is Martin Luther King is just fighting and fighting for the change that he wants. And what I thought was really cool was, I know Spike Lee made Malcolm X, and that's like a 3-hour epic, but there's a scene in Selma. There's a scene in Selma where Malcolm X actually comes to a church and like very discreetly meets with Dr. Martin Luther King's wife, because the two of them.
They had clashing ideologies.
They did. Like, they both wanted the same thing, but they had totally different approaches to how to get there. Oh. Malcolm X was way more extreme. Like, Malcolm X was just like, no, I want to fucking kill any whitey that gets in our way. Martin Luther King was changed through nonviolent resistance. And guess it's kind of like, the first time I ever met your fiance's father, I actually brought this up when we were talking about Black Panther. It was like, if you think about T'Challa is like Martin Luther King, and Killmonger is like Malcolm X.
Oh. Well, you even think of X-Men, like Professor X is Martin Luther King and Magneto is Malcolm X.
Yeah, well. I
wonder if X-Men was even based off of Malcolm X's.
That wouldn't surprise me at all, because it's all about, like, a marginalized group. Although, our good friend Michael, who's been on the show before, he always saw X-Men as, like, how homosexuals were treated. Like, the mutants are more comparable to homosexuals because, like, they talk about
any sort of political theme you can get out of X-Men is valid. At this point.
So we digress. We're kind of digressing because we're
very much so. So what else have you seen?
So what I liked about, what I love about the Selma is, like, it's the racist torture porn is intense, and it's very difficult to watch. Like, if you've seen shit like American History X or Cry Freedom
12 Years a Slave.
or 12 Years a Slave, like, this movie's got that. Like, fucking.
I guess this is more contemporary because it's within the 20th century.
Yeah, it was 1960s racism by cops in Alabama. Like, they're like at the scene where they get to the. Do you know what the first time they tried to march from the smaller city of Selma to Montgomery, the state capital of Alabama? Like, the cops blockaded the bridge and they tear gassed the bridge.
I remember that scene.
Fucking cracked them with billy clubs, and like they beat them really badly.
I remember that whole scene.
There are some great performances in this movie. Like, is like she can make a great documentary, and Ava DuVernay, she can direct actors really, really well. Mm-hmm. Now, I feel really bad because the next movie I was curious to see, I can't really say if she directed her actors so well in this one, but case in point, A Wrinkle in Time. Who has seen this movie besides me?
I've read the book when I was younger.
Did you like the book?
I loved the book. It's very good. It's very good at breaking down complex scientific theories in a way that a child would probably understand best.
Okay, good, because the movie confused the fuck out of
me. The movie doesn't look like it does any of that.
I saw the trailer for it when it dropped, and I thought, hey, this looks actually pretty cool.
I thought the same thing too.
And unique. And when I saw the negative reviews, I kind of just like drifted away.
I
didn't end up seeing it, actually.
I saw it on Disney Plus, but this is the thing. The acting reminded me of something M. Night Shyamalan would make.
Oh.
But the saving grace. It wasn't nearly the worst movie. I was expecting one of the worst movies that came out in 2018. It's not as cringeworthy or as bad. It's mediocre at best, and at its worst, it's cheesy.
Isn't it like a giant Oprah?
Yes. Oprah Winfrey's character grows to be... The first time you see her, she's 20 feet tall.
Hey, I love Oprah. I watched tons of Oprah with my mom growing up.
Oh, yeah. Now you have a movie with tons of Oprah.
Great.
Well, anyways, yeah, so
tons.
The whole idea is that the concept is the universe is like transcended with like layers. The universe has layers. Tesseract has layers. Tesseract. No, so apparently these kids figure out how to tesser. That's like how you work through a tesseract.
Yeah.
And somehow, I don't know which movie is more confusing, but movies that deal with tesseracts, like in terms of the concept of like tesseracts that deal with space and time,
like Interstellar.
Yeah, like Interstellar was was even more confusing than this, but this one, I was like not a kid, but not like that old either when I saw this, because I'm like, if I were a kid, I would struggle to understand this. But, like, I understood Ava DuVernay's and the writer's intention. Like, they wanted to take, like, New Age spirituality and science and throw them together. That's what I saw, but I don't think the audience was ready for that. But maybe it'll fare better over time. Like, I never know. Like, we never know. It might get better. Like, it might grow on audiences, but still... And the acting isn't horrible all throughout. Like, it's only cheesy in, like, the first 20 minutes. But once Reese Witherspoon and Mindy Kaling show up... Mindy Kaling, sorry. Yeah. They show up. It gets... Their performances are corny, but, like, they're having fun with it. So you can't really deny that the people who made this had fun. Now,
do you see her style go through the film, or do you feel it's kind of watered down?
Well,
that's a good question.
That's a good question. No interference.
No, this is very much has Disney's producing labels all over it. Like, it's very okay. If Ava DuVernay, I guess I'd say Ava DuVernay's style is all about, like, you know, black empowerment. It's not really she was very focused on that with the casting of, like, the little girl.
Yeah. But the themes don't translate.
The themes don't. No, there's nothing. Okay, you could argue that the casting with Oprah mentoring a young black girl, that's all black empowerment.
But that's kind of it.
But that's that theme just shows up in the casting. It's not in the story. It's not a black empowerment. Disney tried. Disney, but Disney.
That's all right.
Disney wanted to sell it because diversity sells, and I have no problem with that. Like, it's awesome, but, like, diversity wasn't the issue. Like, with why the movie, like, I don't know, it just got lost on me. Like, I was confused, but the visuals were good. Like, I liked the visuals.
Yeah, it looks like there was a lot going on.
Reese Witherspoon turned.
I just remember there was a scene where everybody synced up in this, like, suburban neighborhood where everyone's bouncing.
That was a
cul-de-sac.
That was a very creative scene. I really like that.
Yeah.
So there were even like I said, it's not. I was expecting one of the worst movies of 2018. It's nowhere near that bad. Like, it's mediocre at best and cheesy at worst. So it's not insulting. Yeah. Now, one thing I noticed was later that year, another movie we saw was the BFG. What the hell was up with 2018 taking beloved children's stories and making hit and miss mediocre?
Actually, the BFG was 2016.
Sorry.
That was 2 years before.
Fuck, sorry.
Oh well, that's okay.
Get your facts straight.
Okay.
So what do you?
The next director I want to talk about has made some waves in the last few years, and Patty Jenkins. Now, all I know about Patty Jenkins is that she did a little BTS video announcing her latest project. She's going to take on a Star Wars movie about the Rogue Squadron, I believe.
I thought that was canceled.
Oh, okay. Well, at the time, she was on, like, the tarmac at an Air Force base, and she's talking about how her dad flew F-4 Phantoms. And it's
that has your interest.
No, because I love planes. I'm a huge Top Gun nut. So, like, full disclosure, it wasn't directed by a woman, but Top Gun Maverick, chef's kiss. and I am so happy that, like, you two are, like, the closest friends I have at this point in my life, and you loved it as much as I did, and you guys aren't even that as crazy about the first Top Gun as I am.
Oh, for sure.
Top Gun Maverick was quality blockbuster entertainment. Yeah. But anyways, go ahead.
Yes. So she that X-Wing project that she was going to do for the Star Wars universe may have been canceled, but she made this really cool video where she was super excited to take it on because her dad was a fighter pilot, and that's really all I know about her. But she got into filmmaking as early as 2003. Her first feature was actually something that got Oscar buzz, so right off the bat, she was super talented. I'm talking about Monster. Now, Monster... Now, Lyle, you're the serial killer enthusiast.
Lyle, you're the serial killer of the group.
No, he's a serial killer enthusiast. Let's make that fucking clear.
No, Monster's a really good movie.
It really is.
It is good.
I didn't know that...
Really tense.
That's my favorite.
I watched Monster knowing nothing about Eileen Wuornos. But the story, wow.
Yeah, isn't it nuts?
God. Yeah, so no, it's about how like she is,
and she literally changed her appearance.
Yeah, Charlize Theron.
Yeah,
just
I noticed that, and I was thinking,
Charlize Theron's a gorgeous woman, and
she looks like
my dad.
She had to transform herself into trailer trash.
My dad has like a huge crush on Charlize Theron.
Michael has a crush on her too,
and I go, oh yeah, she was gorgeous in Monster.
I feel like a misogynistic pig laughing like that, but what I mean...
Well, no, in the context of this, that was the awful woman she played.
Yeah, no, like...
She's not a good
killing...
Eileen Wuornos?
Yeah.
Not a good person. Her philosophies on life it's messed the fuck up.
Even her daughter...
Oh, that's right. That's right. I thought she has kids. Like, I thought that was like a cover story she plays to get picked up on.
Well, there is a documentary that's based on the actual woman that I recommend.
Yeah, but
the movie kind of took a little bit of liberties, but not too much.
But Patty Jenkins was super passionate about the story because she wrote and directed this.
Yeah,
which is not something I'm going to say about her other two movies.
Well, the other one she wrote and directed, but we'll get to that.
Oh yeah. So, now this is the thing. I liked the performances. Christina Ricci. Christina Ricci is...
That's when she was kind of blossoming into a more dramatic actor.
Yeah,
after being a child actor for so long.
Yeah. Christina Ricci was great.
Oh, yeah.
And, they like, I really felt for, Selby. By the way, this full disclosure, Selby is like an amalgamation of, like, real like partners of Aileen at the time. Like, it's not sure.
Did I say daughter? Sorry, I meant to say partner.
Partner. I was going to say. I don't think Aileen Wuornos.
She didn't have. She carried a picture of two random children, and she claimed that these are my kids. I'm looking to get to another.
That's what I was getting mixed up. So my bad. It's been a while since I've seen this.
It's like they kind of feel like a. She kind of feels more like an older sister than like a girlfriend to this girl, but yeah. So so the whole movie, what struck me was Patty Jenkins was so passionate about this that she wrote the script herself. She was given access. Okay, so the events of Monster take place in '89, and Aileen Wuornos was apprehended, and she spent 12 years on death row before being put, because her crimes were so severe, she got the death penalty in the state of Florida. So she was put to death in 2002, and while she was on death row, Patty Jenkins actually was given access to letters that she wrote to people, like the real Aileen Wuornos wrote to people to like get into to help write the movie. And what's such a miracle about that is Aileen Wuornos is a notoriously uncooperative person. Like, she doesn't negotiate, to save her own.
She's rarely all there either.
But Patty Jenkins, I think, was one of the last people she cooperated with professionally just so this movie could be made. And what's really eerie is, because like I said, I didn't know anything about her.
Everything about her is eerie.
This is even crazier. So, I didn't know what kind of recognition this movie got in terms of awards, but then I looked up and no surprise at all, Charlize Theron won Best Actress at the Oscars in 2004. That was the year Return of the King won Best Picture.
I think Sean Penn won for Mystic River.
Yeah. So he went home empty-handed in 2001 for I Am Sam because he went full R. He went full R word,
and you never go full. R word.
Yeah. But anyway, so. Yeah, but you know what's creepy? The Oscars in 2004 were hosted on February 24th, which is Aileen Wuornos' birthday.
Oh,
and Charlize Theron won the award for playing.
Oh, that's amazing! Wow.
Do you want to know one testament I just read about Monster? And this just shows why Patty Jenkins is a very efficient and professional director.
Yeah.
So according to her, the film was shot in 28 days. And as many as 4 scenes, or I guess 9
pages. I was reading that same exact thing on the IMDb trivia.
Like 9 pages of script, like say 4 scenes, they were all shot in one day.
Because we're film nuts, to put that into perspective,
that makes sense.
That is most filmmakers are lucky if they can film like 4 or 5 pages a day.
Yeah.
9 pages a day is a miracle. And Patty Jenkins was like, I have no clue how I pulled that off.
I mean, there's a lot of montages of her just like by herself, like either in bars or like just out in the woods or something.
Yeah,
true. Or like in a bathroom. So
that's another thing. Like,
it's very contained.
It's well shot. It's well acted.
Now she took a bit of a break, but just did
very long break,
like just television episodes of like Entourage, Arrested Development.
Oh, she directed stuff. That is very surprising that she directed episodes for Entourage because
just 2 episodes in season 3.
Okay, so I've seen season 3 of Entourage. Entourage is a very, very masculine, man-centered show. Like, it actually gets to the point where the women characters are not written very well.
I remember I tried to get into that show, and I watched quite a bit of episodes, including the film, and I just got, like, a bit, like, scared. I was like, I hope none of this is real. it's like, this turns me off to the system.
Actually, not to avoid this getting into a review of Entourage, Mark Wahlberg. I almost call him Matt Damon.
Mark Wahlberg.
I almost called him Matt Damon because they look alike. But the thing is, Mark Wahlberg produced the show. Adrienne Griner's character, Vincent Chase, is based off of a real acting coach, Vincent Chase. And, I'm just surprised that Patty Jenkins directed episodes for that show. I forgot about that.
And the killing as well.
So she goes into TV.
She did the pilot.
So for a little over like 13, 14 years, she goes into television, but she comes out with a bang in 2017 with the most iconic female hero known to man or women, Wonder Woman! Sorry, Lyle. I know you don't particularly like Wonder Woman's theme in the DCEU, but
it gets a little under my skin. But it's a good movie.
But yeah, no. After being disappointed beyond belief with Batman vs Superman,
oh boy,
I was worried about that Wonder Woman was going to suffer the same fate, but because Man of Steel was just okay. Like it's probably the best Superman movie they made, but even then, like. It's how hard is it to make a good Superman movie? But anyway, so with Wonder Woman, I was skeptical because how does the DCEU handling like their stories? Like they're disjointed, they go off on tangents. No. Patty Jenkins made the first Wonder Woman movie focused and consistent,
focused, traditional, and
it's. I would actually go as far as to say it's up there with one of the best superhero origin stories I'll ever see.
When I saw this in theaters, I fucking loved it. I thought it was epic. I thought it was so refreshing.
Yeah.
I think if I watch it again, I might think it's just good. Maybe I overhyped it at the time, as you said. Like, the DCEU was just on a very bad streak at the time.
And that movie perked my hopes up, and then I saw just the Whedon cut of Justice League 6 months later.
So Veronica and I saw Wonder Woman in the theaters, and we both got fucking chills. Yeah. That scene where she crossed into no man's land.
Yeah.
It was like I'm watching Christopher Reeve, dun, 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 like I got superhero chills from that moment. Like it was actually the best moment of the movie.
Like seeing Tony Stark in the piece of crap Iron Man suit the first time.
No, she did such a good job at making it like traditional, but like kind of like a fish out of water kind of comedy. And I thought I like Gal Gadot in the role. I think she sells it.
Gal Gadot and Patty Jenkins grew super, super close. And it's worth mentioning that Gal Gadot was actually pregnant for a lot of the shoot. And
is that right?
Patty Jenkins worked around the shooting schedule. There were some shots where she green screened Gal Gadot's belly to hide it. And in the scene where the sequences that are shot on Themyscira, they put the green screen over Gal Gadot's belly and to hide her pregnancy.
That's awesome.
I didn't know that.
Which is not something like that typically doesn't happen. Like, compare that to Age of Ultron. Like, Scarlett Johansson was pregnant. There's a reason why you see ScarJo, Black Widow, from the chest up and not her whole body most of the time in Age of Ultron. It's because ScarJo was pregnant. And you don't see very much of her in that movie. But
and dude, I had no idea about Wonder Woman as a character or anything. Like I just knew that like she had an invisible car, like
invisible jet
or invisible plane or something like that.
We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, I know.
We'll get to
that. It was kind of refreshing just to get to know her character, and I didn't know about her so much to the point that I didn't even know about the lasso of truth thing.
I didn't know.
So when that happened, it was like witnessing a lightsaber for the first time. Like, wow, what a cool weapon!
Yeah.
And the way she kind of revealed it, where it's like she's wrapping it around Chris Pine, and it's just like kind of like controlling him a bit. I'm just going like, oh my god, that's so cool!
Yeah,
what a cool, unique weapon.
Well, I was familiar with Wonder Woman. I watched the Linda Carter show from the 70s.
Yeah,
like the first season, so I was pretty familiar with the character. But it's interesting how long it's been since that show to this movie. They tried many times to make like a Wonder Woman show, and it always fell through. Like the pilot failed.
I was watching the Joe Blow channel's "What the Fuck Happened to This Movie" series, and they did an episode on Wonder Woman. Apparently, the idea of a Wonder Woman feature film was in development hell for the longest time.
Oh, I can imagine.
No, apparently, like tons of filmmakers came. It started with Warner Brothers wanting to start with a Justice League movie and then going from there. And then
I wonder if that would ever work out.
And then no, they want to start with Justice League, then work backwards.
Oh, guys, technically the first time that we saw Wonder Woman was in the fucking trailer for BVS.
Well, no, like
trailer.
No, but
in the trailer.
Now I'm gonna go to the theater and sit and waste my time and watch
here's
that.
the thing that you never do in your trailers. The two things you never do in your trailers: you show rescues or reveals.
Well, you know what? Like,
and BVS did the two
simultaneously.
Like, oh my god!
How amazing would it have been if they kept Wonder Woman a secret and revealed her in the movie, not the trailer?
No, she saved Batman, and then it reveals that she's in the movie. And then Batman and Superman go, wait, is she with you? No, I thought she was with you. And then it's like, oh, I guess they team up, but it's called Batman vs. Superman.
And the music's like... I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Well, this is in the trailer. They give away the whole movie. Like, they had no hope. They had no hope in it.
Okay,
but we're talking about the Wonder... Let's focus up. We're talking about the Wonder Woman movie. Great movie.
It's pretty good.
It came this close to...
It's really good.
Okay,
I really like it.
It is probably my Wonder Woman, thanks to Patty Jenkins' direction and Gal Gadot's, wonderful version of the
wonderful
character.
Wonder Woman
Yes.
One's kind of... Sorry, go ahead.
This movie and maybe Shazam.
Yes, I agree with you.
Are the best DCEU movies.
100% agree with you. Shazam and Wonder Woman are kind of neck and neck. And
they're the better ones.
Now, here's the thing.
What about the Suicide Squad?
Those two. Oh, I know.
The Suicide Squad's my favorite.
The Suicide Squad, Shazam, and Wonder Woman are my favorite DCEU movies. All of the other ones are either okay or unwatchable.
No, sorry, Joker.
No,
Joker's not.
Joker's not DCEU.
That's
independent.
Joker and the Batman are independent.
I mean, Todd Phillips was against cinematic universes, despite the fact that he wants to make a sequel to Joker.
I'm down.
No. Oh god.
Joker.
Speaking of sequels, Wonder Woman was inevitably going to get a sequel, and to be honest, before we get, I was excited.
I kind of wasn't. I felt like the novelty may have worn off.
I loved seeing Gal Gadot. I love seeing Gal Gadot as.
But that's it, though.
I love seeing Gal Gadot, and I was hyped that Patty Jenkins was coming back. But get this, so when I saw the trailer, I'm like, oh, it's going to be in the 80s. And
how does it feel to treat me like you do?
The trailers didn't make it. The trailers were promising something not amazing, but fun. I'm like, I feel like it's going to be fun.
The title put me off a bit because it's like 84. This is like the time where Stranger Things was still going on.
Well, remember the 2010s were all 2010s were all about 80s nostalgia.
I know, but this is like the tail end of 80s nostalgia. Now we're getting to the 90s nostalgia now. So it felt a little behind.
Now, just so we're clear, who's seen this movie?
No.
Me.
I will not fucking waste my time.
I did not quite. I didn't like it.
Okay, so
I'm sorry.
I saw it.
It was messy. It was too much.
But this is the thing.
I think my Letterboxd review said it best. I was like, oh, I thought we were past all these. The sequels have to be bigger and better mentality. Because that's all it was. It was just too much of everything just to justify itself as being a sequel.
The only reason I'd watch it would probably be Pedro Pascal. I hear he's like the best part
He's fucking horrible!
No, he is?
He's not. He plays the cheesiest.
Actually, what he is. Sorry to interrupt. Sorry. Oh.
Well, now he's interrupting.
Oh no.
Good.
Okay,
I was just gonna say he's basically Trump.
That's what she said. That's what Patty Jenkins said.
Like that's all he is. He acts like Trump today, but he has like the kind of personality.
Life is good. It could be better.
As he was back in the 80s.
When Trump was a struggling salesman who lied to a bunch of people and just made empty promises.
But
I can kind of see
Patty Jenkins got creative control for the sequel.
Oh my! I feel so bad. I feel so bad because it's like
the movie has
if this is the movie that she, I feel it. No, before we go too hard on this, so when I saw it, I'm like, I am actually in awe of how different Wonder Woman 1984 is from its predecessor.
I like the mall scene.
Yeah,
I thought that was cheesy too.
That was fun.
Like
okay, fine.
I actually thought that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
It was kind of like kind of cheesy.
But we
fun,
have to, but Cody, we have to have a 10-minute action scene where they're in a race or whatever to show that Diana shouldn't take shortcuts.
Oh, by the way,
even though that doesn't come up later.
Actually, that was at the beginning, right?
I know. Actually, what do you mean it doesn't come up again? The whole movie is about how you can't cheat, and she cheats by having her boyfriend. Spoiler from the first Wonder Woman. Her boyfriend dies. Now think about this.
Spoiler: this guy died.
A guy named Steve in a world war gets in a plane full of explosives and kamikaze and sacrifices himself to save the day. Where have I seen that before? Yeah, guy named Steve in a world war gets in plane, crashes it to save the day.
But Evan, don't you know, she brought him back, but not actually, and then she took a man hostage for a week.
No, it's how he comes back is controversial itself, because Steve Trevor is... She makes a wish on this gem. She finds a gem that grants the wish of whatever you want. Fine. It grants the wish by this. The spirit of Steve Trevor inhabits the body of a random man, and she's technically using this guy's body because the image of her boyfriend is projected on him.
And she's endangering him, too.
That's fucking messed up!
And she defends herself for it. And
God,
no.
For a guy who hasn't seen this movie, you know an awful lot.
No, because I didn't watch this movie. I saw like 10 people do a review of it on YouTube. Okay. If there's a movie I don't want to see, I'll just watch someone talk about it. Like Half in the Bag or whatever.
I completely forgot about all this stuff.
Well, you so repressed the memory.
Like 2.5 hours.
I watched this movie recently, and like it's just cheesy. And
I remember her terribly written. Over
you cannot hide from the truth because the truth is beautiful, and it's beautiful to have the truth.
I remember her. Yeah, her terribly written, over-the-top speech at the end was just god awful. Yeah. And then you just whispered to me that she co-wrote this film, Patty Jenkins.
Patty Jenkins wrote this movie. Yeah,
like solo writer. Or is there other writers on it?
I could be wrong, but she did write the majority of it.
Jesus,
I feel bad
that. Okay,
I feel like we're punching down on Patty Jenkins, but everyone makes.
We keep ending off on probably like same with Ava. Sorry, her name.
I saved the worst for last.
Yeah, you saved the worst for last.
No, but that's in that's in the order in which these films were.
Oh, released. I get it. Yeah.
But no, actually, no. Wait, sorry, I'm mistaken. So, with Ava DuVernay, Selma came first. But I talked about the 13th first because that's like so. But yeah, no, I'll talk about for my next director. I'll talk chronologically about the stuff they've done because that makes sense. So, going back. So, but yeah, once Wonder Woman 1984, like I was just beside myself. I'm like, I don't enjoy. I feel genuinely bad for Pedro Pascal's character because it's like he's just a guy who wants to impress and like. How he goes about it is horrible and unethical.
It's a weird story.
It's weird,
yeah. like Silver Age comics, kind of weird.
It's like remember how he talked about Linda Carter? She makes the weirdest cameo ever in a mid-credits scene. Like it's like I see what you did there, and it's so on the nose.
And to think that she was used better in Sky High.
Yeah, no, it's Sky High.
So they kind of just tack her in at the end.
Yeah,
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, no, Linda Carter. She plays. Not only does she play a character, she plays apparently someone who's.
This is so weird. You get to a point for a while where you feel like you've just seen every like superhero movie in the theater. Actually, I saw this at home during COVID.
This movie's theatrical run was completely ruined due to the COVID.
Oh, I know, but I felt weird where I felt like, did I see this in theater? I did see it, but did I see it in theater?
No, you watched it on.
It was at home.
I watched it on Crave.
Yeah, I watched it on Crave too. That's right.
Yeah. So, yeah, like Wonder Woman 1984. Like, although according to what I read on Letterboxd, there's a third one coming out, so maybe that'll redeem this superhero.
I would recommend Patty Jenkins making something else.
Yeah. I agree.
She hasn't made
that many films.
She hasn't made much, and I kind of want to see more of her because she can do.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to know? I'm going to conclude this review.
I think she's fully capable. I'll say that.
She is. Yeah. No.
She just needs to kind of like, take a break from.
I feel like she and Gal Gadot. It feels like she and Gal Gadot decided to just be as goofy and creative as they wanted.
She does bring out the best in Gal Gadot.
Well, she really does.
Gal Gadot is wishy-washy as an actress.
Well, I think we talked about this curse with sometimes where like. You make a successful film, like a franchise film, and then the studio wants you back for a sequel, and they let you just do whatever you want. And, look what happened with Joel Schumacher with Batman Forever,
or
Batman Robin.
Tim Burton with Batman.
Exactly. They get too much creative control.
But then you have Sam Raimi with Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2.
Well, they gave him creative control from the get-go.
Yeah, from the get-go they did.
Oh, they did? Okay.
Yeah. The first movie, Sony and Columbia for the first one.
It was the third one. It was the third one that he got kind of.
That was because if Sam Raimi.
Okay, whatever. We're not here to talk about fucking Spider-Man. We did that enough the last podcast. What do you like? I was going to ask you about this with Ava DuVernay too, but what do you like about Patty Jenkins' style as a director?
Well, I like the fact that she based on the 3 movies I've seen. She does, even if she doesn't always do it well, she's about women's empowerment. Like, in a weird way, like, I can see why she was attracted to the story of Aileen Wuornos. It's a bizarre female empowerment story. It's the woman who got literally fucked by society, or in this case, horribly raped. But it was like, the whole idea is, she fucked the system because the system fucked her. In Wonder Woman, it's not about a woman getting fucked by the system. It's about a woman understanding the world. So, Patty Jenkins, the trend is, Patty Jenkins can direct stories about women who come to grips with understanding the world.
Yeah. And wow, that's a great way.
Good summary.
Now, I'd like to conclude my thoughts on Wonder Woman 1984 by reading my favorite Letterboxd review. So, Schaefer Ellis, aka James, his review of Wonder Woman 1984 is this: "The Mandalorian touches a lot of people through the Make-A-Wish Foundation."
I saw that one. It was so good.
That's good.
All right. Evan, what is your last?
I say probably the biggest female filmmaker as my last.
Probably one of the longest running of our collection.
Now, Katheryn Bigelow.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Later.
Yeah. Oh, I botched that reference too soon.
Katheryn Bigelow.
It's okay.
So, I had seen 2 of her movies initially. Wait, did I say 2? Well, I said
2 right now.
Well, yes. Maybe earlier. Well, I had seen 1.5. The first movie I want to talk about is, chronologically, when in her early days.
Okay.
Let's go back to 1991. When I was telling Cody how much I love Top Gun, he said, "Evan, you need to watch Point Break." And I watched it, and it's I can see, why you would have the same affinity for
Cody,
this movie as you did for
did
Top
a whole
Gun.
segment of it in our underrated podcast.
Yeah.
Underrated movies episode.
That's right.
Yeah,
so go check that out if you like.
One of the things I noticed about Point Break is that Katheryn Bigelow, when she directs an action scene, very, very fucking intense. You feel like you are in the action scene.
She's quite good.
Which is not something
the foot chase scene.
Yes. No. Remember? Oh, I told you when I was watching it the other night. Was he wearing a parachute? He's fuck it! Keanu Reeves fuck it! He just jumps out after Bodhi, Johnny Utah just jumps out of the plane after Bodhi.
Isn't it crazy?
Without a parachute, that's nuts. The stunts are great, and it's just like I can see why you compare it to Top Gun, because, when you see Top Gun, those are real planes. When you see that, that's real surfing, and that's, real jumping out of a plane. That's awesome. So, the action scenes are filmed in such a way that you feel like you're there. And
it's not so show-offy too. It just kind of is presented the way it's happening.
Now, I remember one scene in Point Break where like he almost gets hit with like a push mower or something.
Yeah,
it felt like something out of a Peter Jackson movie back in the day.
I know it's a cheesy, don't give a fuck about realism type of story, but this is the thing. In the end of near the end of the movie, like they're flying in a plane and their designation is Air Force One. That should have drawn the eye of the authorities for one particular reason. So, because I'm the aviation expert. Yeah. So we all know that Air Force One, in addition to
no, the nickname was Air Force One.
Yeah, but here's the thing: the nickname, was that the call sign they were throwing out on the airwaves, or was that just okay? That would have the authorities should have detected that immediately, and I'll tell you why.
Oh,
here's the but here's the thing. Air Force One is not simple. Okay, everyone associates Air Force One with two things: the Wolfgang Peterson movie where Harrison Ford's the president, or the famous white and blue silver jet that carries the president to any country he travels to.
That's probably the first one.
But the plane, Air Force One is actually the call sign designation for any U.S. Air Force aircraft in the U.S. Air Force fleet that carries the President of the United States. So theoretically, and Marine One is the call sign for any Marine Corps aircraft that carries the President, and Navy One for any Navy. You get the idea. So if an airplane is using the call sign Air Force One on talking to air traffic control, air traffic control is going to assume that, okay, is the president on that plane? What kind of flight plan was filed? Like, is the president of the United States on that plane? No? Okay, then who are these jokers and why are they using the call sign Air Force One? Like, okay, let's investigate.
You just thought it was a little far-fetched.
Yeah, well, no, because I'm the aviation expert and I'm like, yeah, like the authorities should have caught up to them then and there. But that's like people who nitpick Top Gun for like saying, yeah, the final fight at the end of that movie should have started World War III. Like, it didn't ruin the movie for me at all. Like, I liked Point Break. And
what else have you seen?
Okay, so the other two movies I want to talk about actually are more whatever style she was taking on, like in recent years or recent decades. These two movies showcase it really well. I want to talk about the movie that actually won her the best picture. And
before you jump to those, have either of you guys seen Strange Days or?
I want to see.
I have not. No.
K-19, the Widowmaker.
No. K-19, the Widowmaker looks like a good movie.
Yeah, Strange Days looks up my alley.
It's written by James Cameron.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah. Cool. So The Hurt Locker.
Yes.
This movie was
great.
By the way,
in hindsight, I was like, I was so stupid back then. I was like, no, Avatar needs to win. Avatar needs to win. In hindsight, no, Hurt Locker deserved the fucking award.
It did because
it's fucking really well made.
Well, like I said, remember how I was praising Katheryn Bigelow when she directs action scenes? You feel like you're really there. Mm-hmm. Well, imagine her taking on the directing stuff. Imagine that feeling mixed with the directing style similar to that of Paul Greengrass.
Yeah. Good comparison.
That's a good comparison. Yeah,
like
that's a cinematic moment when he's trying to defuse that bomb, but he realizes he yanks it, and then he's surrounded by a few, and it's that bird eye shot.
Oh my God.
That's a cinematic moment. That's like a oh fuck.
No, the worst part of that movie, the most intense scene in that movie is where
the
guy has a bomb bolted to his body, and there is no fucking way that they can remove it. So it's like you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Like, and the guy has like 30 seconds to accept the fact that he's gonna fucking blow up.
So the guy Pierce scene at the beginning was pretty tense too.
Oh yeah. And there's also this movie kind of propelled Jeremy Renner from Z-lister to maybe he'll be an Avenger.
No, he's an A-lister right away. And then after that movie, I was like, he's a great actor. I can't wait to see him.
Do you know that?
And a year later, he was like one of the best parts of The Town.
Yeah.
Did you guys see The Town?
I love The Town.
I did. Yeah. That's a really good movie.
Excellent.
When I couldn't remember his name, but when I saw The Avengers for the first time, for the longest time, I called Jeremy Renner or Hawkeye. The guy from The Hurt Locker is in The Avengers.
Hey, you know who else is in The Hurt Locker? Falcon.
Anthony Mackie, yeah.
Hey, Do you know who's also in it? Who pops up for a second when after the war he goes back home when he sees his wife? Guess who it's played by?
Linda Cardellini.
Evangeline Lilly.
Oh right, yeah.
AKA Kate from Lost. The others might know her as fucking Wasp from Ant-Man.
Wasp and
now,
Lost.
In light of
Wasp.
In light of
the Lost Wasp.
Okay. No, the Lost Wasp. That should have been the title for Ant-Man the Wasp because the original the Lost Wasp.
Janet Van Dyne.
She didn't even have a line. I don't think she had a line of dialogue. She was just there as just like a quick little scene.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Oh man.
But that's
Lost Wasp.
It's weird because like it's not so much like an anti-war film. It's really like
it shows you the realities of
war. War could be in your blood, and you're kind of like drawn to it. That's kind of what his character.
Chris Kyle kind of thing where he goes back even though it's done.
Exactly.
No, like the last shot of the movie is haunting, where Jeremy Renner goes back on another tour in Iraq, and it's like time to rotation 365. It's like. He's going to be here for a year. And throughout the movie, there's a counter, like, how many days left until he goes back home. And you, the audience member, are just, like, saying, I like this goal. I like this guy. I hope he gets back home. And I'm rooting for this.
I feel like her intensity when it comes to action just got stronger. Yeah. There's, like, this visceral energy that comes out of the Hurt Locker.
I want to bring that to the last film I want to talk about. Which
there is a few more. We just want to quickly go back for a second.
There's one of hers I really want to see.
Me too.
It's called Near Dark.
I haven't.
It's a vampire movie.
I didn't even know about this until fairly recently when Red Letter Media brought us attention to it.
Mm.
It's before Point Break. It's like 1987. 1987. It's basically the Lost Boys. But
with James Cameron's cast.
Bill Paxton's in it.
Lance Henriksen.
Lance Henriksen, yeah.
Jeanette Goldstein.
Yeah. Everybody from James Cameron movies are in this.
Aliens, yeah.
But the problem is, the Lost Boys completely buried this movie under the box office. It's just a vampire movie, but apparently it's awesome. And this looks awesome.
Yeah, Bill Paxton looks amazing.
Yeah.
It's like...
So just a shout out, though. But wait, have you seen her latest two?
Probably not, but the one thing I want to talk about was the last movie of hers that got Oscar buzz.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Zero Dark 30. Zero Dark 30...
I knew you were going to talk about this one.
It's okay.
I haven't seen
I didn't like Zero Dark 30 as much as The Hurt Locker.
Yeah, I don't think
it is essentially about how the CIA...
Go after Bin Laden, yeah.
It's about... The whole movie is about how the CIA responded to 9/11. Like they tortured people in really do you know that the movie was so the realism with the torture scenes was so controversial that the CIA went on record and denied that they did any of what the movie portrayed.
So they took celebrities.
Yeah, no, it was controversial because the Bush administration was super pro torture to the point where they were like rounding up people in the Middle East or anyone who had even a remote connection to Al Qaeda. They were torturing them to get any information because Bin Laden was one of the biggest, recluses. Like, he did hiding really well. Like, it took him 10 fucking years to find the guy.
Yeah.
The first half of the movie is, torture porn. So, no, you want to talk... No, one thing I noticed about, Katheryn Bigelow is if she can make you believe that you're really in an action scene... You'll feel like you're being tortured. That was really uncomfortable to watch in the first half. But so the first third of the first act is about how horrible the torture is, or how it's not really pro torture or anti torture. It's this is what we were doing to these people after 9/11, and then the middle hump of the movie is all about the politics, how the CIA and the U.S. government are really desperate to find Bin Laden. Then the third act is about how Chris Pratt, who was coming into his own at the time, and Joel Edgerton were on the team of Navy SEALs that found Bin Laden and raided the compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan, and they killed him. And it was kind of the way that they described the mission, it was it's something that could have been botched, but they weren't even sure if they were going to get Bin Laden. They were skeptical. But then, they are just, clipping guys and anyone who gets in their way. Like, they're clipping men and women alike in this compound, and one of the guys they shoot in the head randomly is Bin Laden. And it's like, oh.
Yeah.
And the way the camera, like, has a weird way of, like, revealing that it's him. Like, and because Jessica Chastain is the main character, but
she does a good job in it.
Oh, this is one of those movies that propelled her to, like, superstar material.
I think her best performance ever was Molly's Game. Did you guys see that one?
Oh, I love Molly's Game.
That's a good one.
That's a great
That's a really good one.
A movie not... Aaron Sorkin directed it, but let's be honest.
Wrote and directed,
yeah. He wrote and directed. It felt like a Sorkin script, but let's be real. He called David Fincher whenever he didn't know how to direct. No, seriously, he's even admitted to that.
Like, I would agree with
Aaron
that.
Sorkin is more of a writer than he is a director, and you can really...
His directing's not bad. It's competent.
Let's be real. Every time he wanted tips, he called his buddy David Fincher.
But his scripts drive the films.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
So going back to Bigelow, what do you like most about her?
What I like... Well, one of the things I've noticed about all my picks of female directors is that when they get, like, really personal and they direct really powerful scenes with actors, these actors really, like, nail their performances, which proves the point that I hope you guys drive home, is that women are just as fucking capable of directing movies as men are, maybe even more so capable of directing movies than men are. So, hire more female directors. God damn it.
Well, you did forget about one film she did.
Which one?
One I quite enjoyed, actually.
Well, I picked 3 movies.
Oh, I know, but she did Detroit.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see Detroit.
Detroit was really good. Kind of similar.
That's with John Boyega.
Yeah,
right?
John Boyega's in it. You kind of compared her style to Paul Greengrass for The Hurt Locker. I would say
Hurt Locker and Zero Dark 30.
And Zero Dark 30. Actually, Detroit kind of makes me feel a little bit of, like, kind of Peter Berg vibes.
Oh, yeah.
Like, a little bit.
Just Deepwater Horizon guy?
Peter Berg, he did...
Patriots Day and...
Lone Survivor.
He's a back wild big guy.
Yeah.
There he goes again.
Peter Berg is what the director Michael Bay could be if Michael Bay focused.
It's a really well-tense story about just, like, white privileged cops, killing and, like, it's a racist racist war crime.
Oh, so...
Or hate crime. And it like, all that stuff is tense when it's happening, like, with the riots in the streets and all that. It's really well tense. But it's even more tense is later on, and I'm not kidding, it's going to sound sarcastic the way I say it, but the courtroom stuff afterwards is just as riveting.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys are into courtroom stuff, but sometimes you get a good one. It's really tense.
Stuff,
yeah. Like, it's really well done. I shout out to Detroit. Everyone watched Detroit. Not a lot of people talked about it that year. 2017.
Yeah, it came and went, didn't it?
Yeah, but it was a great year, 2017. That was one of my favorites of that year. Yeah.
Was there another one? Was there another one you wanted to shout out, or
no? That was it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so those are my 3 ladies. Let's hear what yours are.
Lyle.
Oh, very well. Okay, so my first director for the night is an indie director known as Marielle Heller. Now, she's fairly new to the scene, and the first thing I actually knew of her was her performance in The Queen's Gambit. Have either of you two watched Queen's Gambit?
I did watch it, yeah.
I have not seen Queen's
Gambit.
Okay,
so, yeah,
no, I've seen it. It's really good.
Yeah, no, it's actually... She played Beth's adoptive mother. So the alcoholic.
Oh, the alcoholic one. Okay.
Yeah, the alcoholic mom, but she tried her best. But yeah. So that was my introduction to her, actually. And then I looked into her. I'm like, she's very good in this. I wonder what else she does. Oh, she's a director. Oh, she's married to one of the Lonely Island boys.
Which one?
Jorma Taccone. The boyish one. I guess they're all boyish, but so she does mostly. She's done 3 films. I've seen all of them now. The first one I saw was Can You Ever Forgive Me?
Oh, Linda McCarthy.
Melissa McCarthy.
Or Melissa McCarthy, sorry.
Yes, which is all about this writer who kind of gets by forging literary documents and selling them as, like, authentic, which is very frowned upon in the community. Like, that's heavily illegal. And she and her cohort... So, get this. This is a movie where a lesbian and a gay man become criminals. And it is glorious.
Wow.
Melissa McCarthy and
Richard E. Grant.
Richard E. Grant are so good together.
They were both nominated for Oscars for this.
I loved both their performances. They played off each other wonderfully. He's bohemian. He flings around men like they're pebbles, and she's like gruff and abrasive, and she hates everybody. The only thing she loves is her cats.
Aww.
There you go. It's set in the 90s. It has a really good soundtrack, a really good use of a Pixies song, and I'm so glad I'm seeing more movies use Pixies songs. It is personally my favorite of hers, but her other two are also very good. But I thoroughly enjoyed Can You Ever Forgive Me? It's the one time where I'll say, you know what, Melissa McCarthy, yes, keep doing this. Stop making thunder farts or whatever the hell, but like just
Tammy,
or the boss. I don't know. Stop making movies with your husband. Get on board with a real filmmaker and really.
She made Spy with her husband. That was good. So that was Paul Feig.
Did you see Saint Vincent with him and her? It was her.
Oh yeah, she was
Bill
good.
Murray.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, make movies where
she's good in that.
Make movies where it's like, okay, it can be fun, but just make decent dramas, because she can do some good performances.
She can, yeah.
I like it when she plays she actually puts down and acts. Like even in Bridesmaids.
Yeah, that scene in Bridesmaids where she's talking that was about just
Kristen Wiig.
Yeah,
well, I'll get to too. She's in one of these movies. But yeah, she's really good in that scene. Can You Ever Forgive Me? I highly recommend it, you guys, if you haven't seen it already. It's great. And then another one I saw that Evan kept recommending to me because it was one of your favorite films of 2019 was A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. But Tom Hanks as Mr. Rogers.
I was such a biased asshole, and I'm sorry.
But
I saw the greatest documentary that you could ever want to watch that's based on Fred Rogers a year before called Won't You Be My Neighbor?
Yeah.
That came out a year before. That I was like, it doesn't even matter. It set a bar. Like, this is a great depiction on this man for talking about his faults, not just praising him. Like, it's a great doc. And then it's like I hear they're making a fucking Hollywood movie.
What the fuck?
And it's Tom Hanks. It's like I already see it in my mind. I don't even need to see the movie, and I still haven't seen it. I'm sorry. I'm so biased. I'm such an asshole.
No, I don't know what the fuck. There was like this huge boom of Mr. Rogers content just within that period of time, and I don't know why.
Just that subway scene when they're all singing to him.
Yeah,
I see it in the trailer. I gagged.
You did?
I gagged.
It was a good scene.
I'm sorry. I'm an asshole. I'm going to hell. I know. I've already accepted it. I've had my ticket. I grabbed my
Cody, you scamp.
I've grabbed my number and I'm still waiting in line
to go to hell.
Yes,
for this movie. But no, it's pretty good. It documents like the time where a news reporter a journalist
in the late 90s.
In the late 90s, a journalist was tasked to do a piece on Mr. Rogers,
and it turned into a bigger story.
Yeah, he got very deeply involved with his work process, his creative, the way he got into his work, and as well as like a little bit of his personal life. But then Mr. Rogers like kind of went into his life as well and tried to work out his issues. I'm sure the movie's not 100% accurate, but what I liked about it was it had a lot of like creative flourishes, I should say. There's a lot of, you can tell that Marielle Heller really did her work in recreating like the work environment of working on a public access show like on PBS, and like the way they could like do so much with so little. Every single exterior in the film is like an actual model recreation, like much in the same style as like the show. Tom Hanks is very good, and you guys are on your phones.
No, I'm actually looking up more of her movies.
Okay, sorry.
You didn't talk about her first film, The Diary of
I was about to get to, because I saw it very recently.
Okay, okay.
Sorry, I'm talking about this in order from how I've seen these films.
Oh, okay, you're not doing release date. Okay.
No, sorry.
Sorry, my bad.
But, yeah, it's cool. I would like the set design, all that. It's just like a creative flourish that I like.
Maybe one day I'll watch it.
It's good.
I know Evan really loves it, and I always try to like watch movies that like friends really love for them to kind of I push them to introduce it to me, and I think according to Letterboxd, that movie's like really high on your list that I have not seen.
You really love this movie.
Yeah, I liked it because so
let's hear your thoughts on
the guy, the journalist that they created for the movie. It's an amalgamation of... They didn't use the journalist's real name, but they made a character, and this particular character that they made for the movie, do you know what was so crazy? So a little bit of, like, you know, my family history. Like, this is about my late granddad. My late granddad passed away when I was very young. I've talked about him in the underrated movies episode where you talked about a Goofy movie, because a Goofy movie is probably the only movie where I have, like, some memory of him. But the reason not to go off on a tangent, but when I saw this movie, I was shocked to my core in the first 20 minutes. I'll tell you why. They have a scene where the journalist goes to his sister's wedding, and he's really hesitant to go because he has to reconnect with his father.
Yeah,
his father
played by Chris Cooper,
the dad's played by Chris Cooper. The father and the son do not get along at all, and the son is dreading, like, going to this wedding because he knows he'll have to talk to him, he'll have to maybe make amends or not. And his wife, the journalist's wife, is really pressuring him. It's like, come on, like, just make peace with your dad.
What could possibly go wrong?
So, the dad gets drunk at the wedding, and he sings a drunken rendition of Something Stupid, by Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, Nancy Sinatra, yeah.
And do you want to know how that drew an eerie parallel in my family history? Something Stupid is the song that my granddad danced to with my mother when my mother got married my dad. And it gets crazier. My granddad was also an alcoholic. So, but he quit in the last... Around the time I was born, I had no idea what alcoholism was, but if he was still drinking when I was alive, he hid it and never drank around me, so I didn't know. But I didn't learn that about him until many, many years later. And so when I was watching this movie, I'm like, oh my God.
You were reminded of it. Yeah.
I was reminded of a piece of my family history that I only knew a little bit about. And there was, like, you know, like, not to get into details, but, like, you know, my mom, like, had, like, her issues with my granddad, but they did eventually make peace, and that's what A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood's all about. Like, it's essentially about a man making peace with his estranged father and Mr. Rogers helping him on the way. And I said this in my Letterboxd review. The world does not and did not deserve a man like Fred Rogers. Like, the guy is just so, like, empathetic. He's so pure. He's, like, one of the most understanding people you ever meet. Even if you are the biggest piece of shit to people in your lives, in your life, Fred Rogers would still talk to you, and he'd be extra interested in you because he'd want to know, like, where your pain comes from, and he'd want to really get to the root to it. So, from a guy who just started up a simple TV show for kids in Pittsburgh on PBS, like, God fucking bless that man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when does the Mr. Dress-Up biopic come out? That's a Josh joke.
Yeah.
That is a
Josh joke. It's rubbing off on me now.
Hey, Josh. Josh, are you here?
Well, we need our Canadian representation, probably.
Yeah, come on. Well, on that note,
I just said Mr. Dress Up and the piano theme is already in my head.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you were Canadian filmmakers, who would you cast in the role of Canadian Mr. Dress Up? Or the biopic about Mr. Dress Up?
I don't know. Man, that's another thing I want to address about this.
Can you imagine, like, one of the... Who's the old guy from Trailer Park Boys? Like, just...
What, Bubbles?
No! Bubbles is Mr. Dress Up? Are you fucking high?
That would work, actually.
Oh, Mr. Leahy?
He passed away.
Oh, I forget it then. I don't know. I'm not super familiar with Trailer Park Boys. Sorry.
I watched it religiously. That's another thing about this movie. I think that kind of detracts me a little. I grew up with Mr. Rogers like in the tail end of his career, and I just kind of watched. I was a little too young to really get it or like understand what was going on.
He passed away in 2002.
Yeah, right. So I was born in '95, so it was a little. It was way before my time, but so
I grew up with it too.
And it's been so long since I watched it, so I don't remember a lot about Mr. Rogers. I have faint memories of it. So
watching that doc brought me back. Like that was deep recesses of my mind and nostalgia.
So I watched that doc too.
I completely it brought me back to something I never thought I'd revisit.
Yeah, like let's say this movie was about Sesame Street, I would remember a lot more because I grew up with Sesame Street more than Mr. Rogers.
Thomas the Tank Engine, stuff like that.
What happens when the Jim Henson biopic comes along? And,
that'd be great.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I'd like that.
And the Sesame Street scenes,
What's the tugboat thing called again?
Theodore
the tugboat, yeah.
Which takes place in Halifax.
Yeah. But I should wrap up my thoughts on Marielle.
To avoid this turning into a kids show retrospective from the 90s. We already did that.
Damn it, I was going to say, have we done that?
Yeah.
Yeah, but moving on to her first film, which I saw very recently in preparation for this.
Yeah, how was this?
And it's called The Diary of a Teenage Girl.
Oh.
And, Oh boy. This is it's a great film. It's very uncomfortable though.
Okay.
It's funny, I just watched Red Rocket recently, and so this movie shares some parallels because it is about Belle Powley as a 15-year-old girl who loses her virginity to a 30-year-old man played by Alexander Skarsgård.
What is it with Alexander Skarsgård playing assholes?
He's such an asshole.
Big Little Lies. I think he's typecast now.
I don't know. Like, to me, Alexander Skarsgård, I think he's like the next Gary Oldman, because every time I see him in a movie, I always forget what he looks like.
He even played Randall Flagg in the reboot of The Stand. He's always a villain. He's always an asshole.
Yeah.
Big Little Lies, he was really good in. But he's just, his character's awful.
I saw him at TIFF with the Hummingbird.
Oh shit, this movie's new. Like, new-ish. Like,
Marielle Heller's a very new director. She's been pretty active the last 5 years. So that's why I wanted to give her a spotlight. And, but it's funny, in the Hummingbird Project, Alexander Skarsgård reminds me so much of Josh.
Oh.
I don't know, I'll just send you a clip or something. Okay. I'll probably look up. But
send him the clip.
Send him the clip and be like,
and then
we're back.
She just did a Prime Video movie as well.
Oh yeah, What the Constitution Means to Me.
Yeah.
I could not get a copy of that, so I wasn't able to see it, unfortunately.
Do you have Prime?
I tried looking for it. I couldn't find it.
If it's a Prime Video, then it's exclusively made for it.
I did not look.
Yeah.
Damn it. But anyways, back to The Diary of a Teenage Girl. So yeah, the uncomfortable subject matter. It's very frank, but I think it does an excellent job of like describing like female sexuality, especially in a teenager who's just starting to open up and become aware of it. The film, much like Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, it has a lot of interesting flourishes. Like there's like a lot of she's very inspired by the underground comic scene from the 70s. This movie takes place in the 70s, and so like stuff like Robert Crumb and his wife. And I like
70s culture, so I'm already sold.
Yeah, Evan, I think you get something out of this. Kristen Wiig plays her mother, who's like this bohemian person who like uses drugs recreationally. She's very open-minded, tries her best, but she's like very like she can only do so much. She's very good in this as well. So that's two people from that Ghostbusters movie we don't talk about that Marielle Heller worked with.
Speaking of which, can you ever forgive me? Like, this was at TIFF in 2018. I'm just looking that up. I remember, like, it was one of the movies that, like, because we were both at TIFF in 2018, and you wanted to see that. I didn't have the time, but
I should have saw that one.
There's just not enough time to see every movie at TIFF.
Yeah, but
some people see half of them, and I have no fucking clue how they do it.
Yeah. This movie has a lot of good animation.
Seasonal pass.
This film has like a lot of interesting animation. It's shot very well. Fits everything just fits the time period so excellently. I think Marielle Heller, like I could see her doing some really great things along the way. She's done some very good movies, but I'm looking forward to her like making more and seeing how her style progresses.
Yeah,
because that's what I like about her. I think she does a lot of interesting things. She had a background in theater. So, because the Diary of a Teenage Girl is based on a graphic novel that she read religiously, and she adapted it into a stage play, she played the main character, and it got rave reviews, and she actually got the chance to make it into a feature film, and the author loved it. So, yeah, she's someone to keep an eye out for. So I look forward to seeing what she does next. Moving along, it's a little bit of a departure from typical from Marielle Heller. We have a French director, who, Cody, I know you're familiar with. Evan, I don't think you're familiar with at all. Who's really making waves in the body horror genre, and that is Julia Ducournau.
Good, you pronounced her name right.
I had to look up a few interviews to find out, because I can be bad at pronouncing things. She's very, very new to the scene. She started out in 2011 directing shorts, but it wasn't until 2016 where she made her feature film debut, Raw. And boy, is it ever raw!
It's have you seen this, Evan?
No, I haven't.
Raw? Oh,
okay.
Are you a vegetarian?
No, because the main character was until the accident.
Yes. It's a very grim film.
Yeah, basically the idea is that it's this girl who develops like she's a vegetarian. She starts eating meat, but then her diet progresses into actual like human flesh. And she's like a freshman in college, so
it's like Lisa the vegetarian in reverse.
Yes. Yes.
You can picture going, I am the lizard queen.
Yeah, no, this film is very, very uncompromising. It's very gross, and it's very like the gore is like really unnerving.
But then it kind of doesn't lead to anything. It's like that's the cutoff point. It's just the shock, but I felt like it just didn't lead to anything. There wasn't enough, like, I don't want to be that pretentious person going like, well, it was very style over substance. No, I feel like the style was there and it was great, and I feel like what they had was there, just feeling moody and uncomfortable was there, but I just feel like, where did this all lead to?
It traces back to her hereditary, like, family. Like, it's a disposition was passed on from her mother. Like,
Hereditary was really like direct on what it was.
I'm not talking about the movie Hereditary, Cody. I'm talking about the Hereditary.
Oh, sorry. You're talking about the Hereditary.
You know, movie titles can be words too. You know, but no, like her mother had the same symptoms she and her sister had, which is why it passed on, and her father had to like absorb a lot of the brutal damage that she would inflict.
That car accident scene, oh my god, in the countryside road, like oh my god,
oh, that was a good opening.
Oh, no, but it comes back to it later.
It happens twice.
It happens twice.
Oh, and when she wakes up in the bed and her roommate's like half devoured.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, no, and then. Yeah, I enjoyed Raw, but I think her second film is even better.
Oh, it's way better.
Titane,
yes.
Titane. I love this movie.
This is like a bad dream. You didn't see this either, Evan?
No,
sorry.
I'm looking all these up as you talk about them.
It was quite recently. It was actually Jay in Red Letter Media. He turned me onto this movie.
Yeah, this came out in 2021, and it's about this woman who, when she was a child...
Played by Agatha Roussel. I don't know if is she French or...
Yeah, no, she's a French filmmaker, and she shoots all of her films in France.
Yeah.
So, this as a girl, she suffered a horrible head trauma when her father got in a car accident with her in the back seat.
Mm-hmm.
So she has a metal plate behind her ear, and it's like a very gruesome, like scarring kind of damage to her brain. And as such, like when she grows up, she becomes like predisposed to like murderous tendencies.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually this fucking opening. There's one scene earlier in this movie that's so funny.
Is it the stairway scene?
The whole house, like the killing spree.
Yeah.
It felt like something out of a date, like out of Mulholland Drive. You know, like when the hitman shoots the guy, but there's too many witnesses that keep coming into the room and he has to keep killing them.
You know, it was weirdly
a body count.
It was weirdly erotic. This film.
Both her films are weirdly erotic. She's not afraid to show like female sexuality.
Yep.
She's not afraid to show nudity.
Mm-hmm.
She's not afraid to show like things that would make a gynecologist blush. Especially with Titan. Good fucking god.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Because, Evan,
where it leads to.
The insane incident of Titan is that when she grows up, she has sex with a car.
You say it so bluntly, but there's more to it.
I mean, there's a lot more to it.
Sorry, you can't see my facial reaction. We're just
you dropped
okay.
like 2 few inches. Sorry to be blunt, but that's just like the elevator pitch, and you're like, okay, but then what?
It's honestly one of these movies where
I don't want to say too much.
You can't describe it really afterwards. You're just like, what the fuck? But it's such a memorable experience.
Yeah, no, Titan is excellent. That's my favorite of hers.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see more, and it's wonderful. I like her work a lot because it's like it's been so fucking long since I've seen a good body horror film. Mm-hmm. Like you have like the new Alien movies that don't cut the mustard because they're too like in your face. But like I don't want people to die in body horror. I want people to suffer.
Yeah,
I want them to see their conditions.
I'm not big on body horror, quite honestly.
Oh, I love it.
He's not gonna. No.
Yeah, but
I more appreciate it as a subgenre, but it's not like a favorite of mine. Like I could watch it and stomach it. I'm fine. If I feel like shit, I go. Well, at least I'm feeling something.
Yeah,
and not boredom.
That's great. And it's interesting. I looked into her work, and her 2 biggest influences. And this is readily apparent if you see any work. Her 2 favorite directors are...
Can I guess?
Okay, yeah, guess. Cronenberg.
And...
It's another David.
Oh, Lynch.
Yeah!
Oh, there you go.
Makes sense.
So that makes sense. 2 of your favorites inspired a new person.
Yeah, 2 of my favorite directors inspired this director. So I'm like, all right.
The trifecta.
Yeah, so I love this woman's work. I see her in interviews. She seems really like energetic and like a little like eccentric as well, and I like that.
I wonder if she just seems like a sweet woman. Then you see her movies and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
How did she do?
It's like the very definition of a lady in the streets, but a freak in the sheets.
Oh, wow!
Like, just like, oh my god, that I want to see more of your like visions because this is like really cool stuff. Yeah, but I feel like if I had to recommend one of these, like Titan, I feel like you would just be either very, very confused or very, very uncomfortable.
The one that kind of appeals to me the most is Raw. Because like that might be
Raw is a little bit less extreme.
Yeah, Titan. That's why I would probably get the most out of it.
Yeah, you enjoy Raw. I'd recommend that one to you. But yeah, I cannot wait to see what she does next. I really enjoyed Julia Ducournau, and I want to see what other body horror imagery she can pull out, because she does not pull any stops. She goes right for the jugular. And it's glorious. So my last director of the night is definitely my favorite of the 3. It's one I've followed ever since high school. And if Evan's the aviator enthusiast, so to speak, I am the punk enthusiast, so to speak. And no lady has been more vital to the documentation as well as the deliberation of punk music than this next director, Penelope Spheeris. So I know you guys know her for one thing, but I will touch on it. But
she directed probably one of my first films I've ever seen. But we'll get to it.
Yeah. So she is a filmmaker as well as a documentarian.
I didn't know she was a documentarian.
Yeah, she started a series. It's a 3-part series, but it started in 1981, and it's called The Decline of Western Civilization. This is definitely one of my favorite works of hers, which basically highlights the escalation of the 1980s LA punk scene. Because what you got to learn about punk is that it came in waves. We had like the 70s boom between Britain and the United States. You have the States with like the Ramones. Yeah, the UK scene, which I think was a little better, with like Sex Pistols, The Damned, and Buzzcocks, and fucking the Clash. But then you get into the 80s stuff. This is where like New York kind of like fizzles out and dies, and then we have the LA scene, which just bursted. This is where Repo Man and stuff, where you have like stuff like Suicidal Tendencies, Black Flag, Misfits, which kind of came out in the 70s, but really became bigger in the 80s, and Fear and all that. And you had these bands who are like so much gnarlier than like earlier. Like the 70s were a bit more it was a burst, but the 80s was a burn. Like, everyone in the punk band was, like, so rude and noxious. Cody, I know personally you think punk music is very stupid.
Hey, well,
this documentary will not change your mind. Because
it won't change my mind. I want it to change my mind,
but it won't.
Oh,
a lot of these people in this documentary are very crass. Yeah,
I wouldn't say stupid. I'll just say it's just not my thing.
No, it's understandable. But like with this documentary, it's like you see bands like the Germs. So, like Darby Crash. Who, oh my God, this documentary came out just after he passed away. And it's like the last footage of him, and he's a mess. Like I'm talking, like he gets strung out on anything he has hands on to perform live because he has stage fright. So he uses it as a crutch most of the time, and he's like barely intelligible. He's smashing glass on himself. He's climbing on the amps, falling over and hitting breaking his ribs on stage. That's actually like the poster is when he broke his ribs, and you just see him grunting there. It's actually the start of Pat Smear's career, who would later go on to play with Nirvana.
Nirvana and then Foo Fighters, right?
Yeah, he started out in the Germs.
Yeah.
I am disappointed that, like, Henry Rollins, when they were doing the Black Flag segment, he wasn't in the band at that time. It was someone else, and it was, like, earlier. But it's interesting. It also covers, like, the world of, like, zine creations, like, back when they could make, like, independent magazines and sell them in concerts and all that. It's a very good documentary, honestly. It's a little rough around the edges at times, but it's really cool that Penelope could, like, walk into, like, a punk, like, concert and just record all this footage.
Is it shoddy or is it kind of well done?
It's early 80s, so yeah, it's shoddy, but I think that adds to the overall aesthetic of the film. I actually like it a lot. Okay. You see, like, a lot of B-roll of people, like, spitting onto the stage and trying to hit the performers.
Oh.
You have, like, Fears, like, playing in the credits, just saying all these misogynistic jokes to, like, rile up the crowd and make them really angry. And, I really love part 1. I haven't seen part 2 or 3. I didn't see part 2 because it covers metal. So it's literally called Part 2, The Metal Years, which was released in 1988, which would lead her into one of her best-known films, going into, like, the Dunderhead lifestyle and, like, these guys who love metal and wear all their favorite band shirts. And that is Extreme Close-Up! Whoa! Wayne's World! Easily my first film of hers, her best-known work, and probably easily one of the best comedies of the 1990s. You have Mike Myers. And the best SNL movie. I don't care about your MacGruber's and all that.
There may or may not be a Pop Talk coming out next season where we are going to talk about three 90s comedies, and this may be one of them.
Yeah, so I will not go too much into Wayne's World, but I will say, because you want to talk about it, and I'm totally down because it's one of my favorite films of all time.
Me too.
And it was her highest grossing film at the time. And I want to ask you guys a question. How old do you think Penelope Spheeris was when she directed Wayne's World?
Probably in like her middle age.
Probably 30.
Because she has a short film going back to 1969. I'm just looking at her filmography now. She has a short film going back to the late 60s called Shit, 4 minutes long.
Yeah. I watched it. It was good.
Oh, you've seen it?
It was a good shit. No, I haven't seen it.
Are you implying that you watched it on the crapper? Or?
Yeah, but Penelope Spheeris was...
Yeah, your answer speaks for itself.
I'll say 30.
Okay, 30, and you say middle age.
Like
she was
42 or something, or
she was 45 when
she
was close. So you get the prices right, Evan.
Nice.
But so like all you fucking
wait,
people,
so what do I win?
You earn the ability to go next step.
Please watch it a few times until we actually do the Pop Talk on it.
I've seen Wayne's World once.
Watch it again, and then again. And then again, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day.
3 hours
and then he'll tell his friends, and his friends will tell their friends, and their friends will tell their friends. Yeah, but so all you people who are out there is like, oh man, I'm 29 years old, I haven't done anything with my life. It's like, you know what? It's never too late.
Exactly.
To accidentally find yourself in a situation where you make one of the most important films of the era.
it revitalized one of the most iconic rock songs of all time for a new generation.
And it's interesting because she almost wanted to cut that scene.
Oh,
because
really?
the royalties would have been very expensive.
Oh,
but because she was like trying to maintain the budget, and Mike Myers was like, "No, I cannot make this movie without this scene." So they compromised. Unfortunately, Mike Myers and Penelope didn't get along.
Oh no.
Well,
yeah.
Unfortunately, that's why she
didn't direct the sequel.
Now, I have
sense.
one of my colleagues actually knew Mike Myers, so it's actually a little tough to. I've heard mixed things about him. Like, apparently, he is on one hand one of the nicest people. Like, if you get to know him as a person, he's one of the nicest people you can ever hope to meet.
Yeah.
But his working relationships with him. Like,
oh no. Okay, this is weird because I remember someone from high school that I knew had their dad's brother was best friends with Mike Myers. Like, I think it was either his stunt double or somebody for the Love Guru, and this guy said Mike Myers was the biggest fucking asshole ever. So that just confirms it. But funny enough, our friend Michael, recommended a podcast for me that's hosted by Will. The guy that plays Batman at Lego Batman.
Will Arnett.
Will Arnett, Jason Bateman, and the gay guy from Will and Grace. He's also from Cat in the Hat, actually.
Oh yeah, that guy. I know.
The Humber
Sean Hayes.
Sean Hayes, yeah. So these three, they have their own podcast. It's on Amazon, and I was listening to all three of them. One of them gets to pick a surprise guest that the other two don't know about. So they one of them surprised the other two with Mike Myers on the air, and Mike Myers was like going on saying like, oh, I just love collaboration and, and like trying to like, encourage people to like, come up with funny jokes and all that. And I'm just thinking, I've heard differently, my friend. Yeah. I heard that you're a guy that kind of likes to like, you have scenes where your characters laugh at your other characters when you do a double role. Like you laugh at your own jokes.
He does.
I mean, the ego of that is pretty sophisticated. I'll say this. I love you, Mike Myers. I love you. I say this with kind of love, but a little bit of criticism.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways.
But, I have some other movies that she's made that I'd like to talk about. I know the one you want to talk about, but I'll get to that. I want to talk about some of her earlier stuff.
Okay.
You know what's crazy? I'm looking at filmography now. I've seen at least 3 of her movies.
Yeah.
And I could have picked this director, but it's like, no, I want to let you talk about it because these movies did more for you than they did for me.
Yeah. Well, one of hers was produced by Roger Corman.
Oh, yeah?
And that was Suburbia, which is the first film, the acting debut of Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Right.
And
speaking of Red Hot Chili Peppers, Anthony Kiedis was in Point Break.
Point Break, that's right.
He jumps Johnny Utah.
The shower scene, yeah. That would be a waste of time.
That would be a waste of time. Yeah, but then we got Suburbia is just like about these like kids who run away from home and like squat in this abandoned LA house. And it's kind of
rebellious kids. They sound like they were little rascals.
This movie's a little darker than that because like there's like drug overdoses and like groping on stage and like massive riots and like a whole town that hunts after these kids because they cause so much trouble. It's a little bit over exaggerated, but it kind of it has the same ethos of something like Repo Man where it's a little haphazard, but I like it's kind of quotable and it's cool. Like you see these guys in this crew and they're just like so terrible to everyone. This guy goes to the one girl at a concert. He's like, "Hey, I want to fuck your brains out." "What?" "So I want to fuck your brains out." "What?" "Oh, looks like you don't have any." Like just awful shit like that.
Oh God!
And my favorite scene is like there's 2 of them driving a car. He's like, "Hey, pass me a bottle," and he picks one up. He just flings it at the bus. I hate buses. Yeah. But I'll move on. There's another one. Actually, there's another movie of Flea that she worked on. She loves Flea. She loved working with Flea. And this film's called Dudes. It's all about these 3 guys. I think I sent this to you guys in the So to Speak chat.
Oh, this one. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like John Cryer plays a punk. He's not very good at it. And then he and his friend, Daniel Roebuck and Flea, are like, "Man, I hate New York. The scene's Dad, I want to go to California. Well, we don't have enough money to go to California. And Flay's like, I got
Oh my god,
money.
Daniel Robic?
Yeah.
Is that how you say his name? Hey, Evan, that's Arts.
Oh.
Dr. Arts
from
from Lost.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, sorry. I mean, I'm Cody.
Oh
I have to
my
name drop that
God.
fucking show all the time.
Yeah, and Lee Ving from Decline of Western Civilization, the lead singer of Fear, is in this. He plays the villain, the racist villain, so of course. Not a great movie, but it was kind of fun. Still gave me some of that Repo Man ethos. I'm always looking for movies that remind me of that movie, so it's nice. But, yeah, let's go into more of her 90s stuff, because that's where she got, like, a lot of her bigger, like, productions.
Well, critically wasn't really the best era she got into.
Yeah.
Wayne's World was a bit of a highlight in the 90s, but...
some of the studio kind of chewed her up, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You got, like, the Beverly Hillbillies, which
Beverly, I mean, that was going on. That was a trend in the early 90s where you just had to bring back, like, an old show and just modernize it in a movie form.
Oh, you mean like the Little Rascals, which she made like a year later?
The Little Rascals is one of the first movies I've ever seen.
And Disney Disney did you one better in the late 90s where it's like, let's take classic cartoons and make them live action.
Yeah.
George of the Jungle. Let's call Brendan Fraser because he can play any cartoon character you want.
Yeah.
And then, that works so well. Inspector Gadget.
My Favorite Martian and all that.
My Favorite Martian.
Well, that was an old TV show, but that goes along with that trend I was just saying.
Yeah, the Addams Family, which was probably the best one out of all.
That was probably the best one. Well, maybe the Brady Bunch
Dukes of Hazzard get turned. I haven't seen that. Didn't the Dukes of Hazzard get turned into the movie?
That was 2000s.
Yeah. So that trend kind of stayed for a bit.
Yeah, that was at the tail end.
Yeah.
When someone says, "Hey, what's the Little Rascals about?" I say, "Well, it's about this sexist club that banishes women from joining it, and when they find out that one of their male members falls in love with a woman, they try to banish him and make him look like an asshole. But then, when their club burns to the ground, they sentence this guy to be basically like a guardian, and they not only banish him from the club, but they banish him from seeing this girl. Oh, and I also forgot to mention their children." No, I mean it's an endearing, fun movie.
It's cute. I mean,
it's clearly adults writing dialogue for kids to say, so that we laugh at the shit that they say. It's like John Hughes-ish.
That's how it was back then.
Very John Hughes-ish. But
looking at her filmography, she actually directed one of the worst comedies I've ever seen called Black Sheep.
Yeah.
Oh God!
I was gonna give my thoughts on Little Rascals before I got into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Little Rascals, I enjoyed that one. I remember I always looked up to Alfalfa because I had the same thing he did with like the spit curl.
I'm the barber of the bigger. You are so beautiful. Darla also has you know how he has that signature, like his hair, the little hair
just spikes up when he
spikes up. So Darla puts it down and then it just goes doing right back up again. It's like that's an innuendo that I had no idea it was.
Yeah. And it also has your favorite president as the villain's dad.
Oh, that's right.
Yo,
Waldo.
No, do you know what I'll never forget? I remember we were just watching that movie like a couple of years ago while he was president, and then I'm like, oh my god, that phone he's using is huge!
It's funny, it's fun.
Yeah.
There's a deleted scene where he's like just taking popcorn from an extra and eating it in front of them.
Because apparently the guy Trump was a huge dick on the set.
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah.
No, apparently the guy had like fucking caveats up the ass if you wanted.
Guys, just to name a few, but the cameos in this film. Okay, there's George Wench, there's Aretha McEntire, Whoopi Goldberg, Mel Brooks, George Wench.
I'll never forget Mel Brooks.
Already.
I'll never forget
Leah Thompson.
Mel Brooks is the bank manager, and his line is, "But you're not people, you're kids."
Dale. What's her name? Dale.
It's all on the tip of your tongue.
She's from Splash. She's from Blade Runner.
Daryl
Hannah.
I couldn't pronounce her. Daryl Hannah. There we go. Sorry. That's a tongue twister.
Yes.
Statistically.
Well, because that's what.
Oh my God, Raven Simone.
The first fucking just for full disclosure, first time I ever heard about Daryl Hannah, the person who introduced me to her is like, "Oh, she has Asperger's. You might like her." It's like, okay,
all right. Just because I have it, what?
Yeah. Also, Raven Simone and Mary-Kay and Ashley Olsen were in this.
That's right. Yeah,
they played Darla's friends in that scene.
Oh, and Reba McEntire, country singer.
Yep,
very good. Well, yeah, Little Rascals is a film. I liked it.
It's a film. It is a film.
It's pretty fun for what it is.
Hey, did you guys like Tommy Boy?
Oh, I love Tommy Boy.
I love that movie too.
Do you want to see them do it again? Only more half-assed and lazy and scatterbrained.
Yeah.
Black Sheep is a fucking bad
I'm just gonna
movie.
I'm just gonna read. It's Black Sheep. I see what you did there. It's a bad
movie.
Here's my letterbox. Here's my letterbox.
Evan, do you just want to promote your goddamn account?
I'm loving this.
Just put like our plugs on the bottom. Follow us at
Follow us on letterbox.app.
Here's my letterbox. Okay, so there's a state election, and the challenger's idiot brother, is such a PR disaster magnet that the incumbent governor could just sit back and let this lunatic fuck up his brother's campaign.
Instead,
she commits voter fraud.
I know.
Why?
When you guys said that to me, that's something it didn't even occur to me. Like, wow, that's a huge flaw I didn't even pick up on.
We should probably get in some background of this movie. So yes, after the success of Tommy Boy, studios wanted to profit off of this, the power of like
chemistry
between Chris Farley and David Spade. So they quickly assembled this thing. And the scriptwriter had to write the script in a really tight deadline, or else he would have gotten sued by the studio.
Yep.
They threw in Penelope Spheeris, and she had to work with the two of them. And she did not like David Spade.
Which funny enough, she ends up working with later on in Senseless.
Yeah, which I didn't get around to seeing.
I didn't see it either. It looks bad. It looks
the latter half of her career isn't great, but it's
she really didn't do much after like.
Yeah, it's too bad. Like Black Sheep could have been as good as Tommy Boy. I often forget that. I always feel like she directed Tommy Boy at one point, but no, she didn't. It gives me the same like vibes as like Wayne's World or something like that. But with Black Sheep, it's just like it's limp, it's boring. The plot isn't really the best hook for a comedy.
It's very thin.
Chris Farley, god damn it, God bless his soul, but he tries so hard to be funny. And David Spade doesn't really have anything to do for him.
He doesn't bounce off of him well.
He doesn't. He's just there.
He's there. He just looks awkward. And I think Penelope Spheeris and David's... Yeah, you said it, right? David's getting it along. So apparently Chris Farley was so embarrassed by this film that I think he cried at the premiere or something like that. No, sorry. That was the Beverly Hills Ninja.
Oh, yeah.
He was so fucking embarrassed of that movie that he cried at the premiere.
Wow.
He was like, oh my god, I'm just like the buffoon that falls down. I'm a slapstick guy. It's sad. It's fucking sad hearing that.
Yeah, Chris Farley makes me sad a lot of the time. But, Black Sheep, not his best work. I would actually say I just stick with Tommy Boy, maybe a few of his cameos from other Adam Sandler movies, but Black Sheep was just a mess, and it's not entirely her fault. I think it's just it had to be made.
Hey, did you know that there was a scene that David Spade, when he was doing that signature thing that he did in the movie of, hey, I got something for you, it's a souvenir for you, and he flips you off. Mm-hmm. He was trying to do this to this old woman that he bumped into in the street. And he's like, never mind, I'm not going to do this too. And he's like, the old woman's like, hey, what are you doing? You playing pocket pool there, me son? You got a little chub there? Dream on, you fart. And she walks away. Apparently that's Penelope Spheeris' mother.
Oh, neat. Wow.
She threw her mom in a movie.
Yeah. So regrettably, unlike some directors I've talked about, or that you've talked about, Evan, Penelope Spheeris is currently inactive.
Aww.
I'm not quite sure if she's retired.
Come up with another punk documentary.
Yeah, it's if she wants to, I don't know. There's not much talks to make a Wayne's World 3.
No, don't. As bad as they are, stick to those Uber Eat commercials.
Please. That's enough.
As bad as they are, just stick with those. I'd rather just...
Yeah, but, if she wants to do, I remember, shortly... near the end of her career, she made a third installment for the Decline of Western Civilization, just kind of like the end of the punk era, after the 90s died down into late 98 or something.
Yep.
So like that was by the time of like the Green Days and the Offsprings, they're all kind of petering out. Well, I guess not Green Day, but like, they became more alternative, anyways. But it's I'm not sure what she wants to do now. I've read I read an interview with her. She seems really like snarky. Like it's weird. She has like apparently a very stern personality, and apparently she didn't really want to become a comedy director. She fell into it, and then it's like, well, maybe that's why my comedies, some of them got really successful, is because I take life so seriously that I'm like, well, it's absurd sometimes. And she has like a lot of negative stories about her career. Like at one time, she was working on a television show, and someone like stripped her clothes off, like on set. Like someone just ripped her shirt off, and she's like, "I feel like if I was a man, you wouldn't do that." But I see how it is. Yeah. So she dealt with a lot of ickiness. Like I'm sure the Punk documentary, she probably got like a lot of like attention, like negative attention from some of these people. But at the end of the day, like I think what I like most about her as a director, I know she's not like the most prestigious person in the world, but like I just think her movies are so fun. Yeah, like Wayne's World is like one of the most positive, it has one of the most positive energies coming out of it that I've ever seen. I always feel like happy and invigorated afterwards. Same with like even like Little Rascals or something. Like it was a blast. And I don't know what this is kind of funny. A lot of her posters have like a blue sky in them.
Yeah,
like at least 4 or 5 of her posters feature a blue
Wayne's
sky.
World, the Little Rascals,
Little Rascals, Dudes,
even the Beverly Hillbillies.
Yeah, Beverly Hillbillies and Black Sheep. He's like falling out of a thing.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, so she's like all of her posters have like this sunny day kind of radiance out of them, and that's what I like. And she's done like I enjoy her like at like the way she like documents the punk scene. She does it in a pretty unbiased way, but it's kind of like see that it's some of these people are just terrible. She's not afraid to like tackle these things. Another thing that's interesting. That was your cue, Evan.
Oh yeah, what is interesting?
What's so interesting, Love?
Whoa, we switched roles here.
That a lot of her films are very male centric.
I noticed that.
Yeah, they focus a lot on male characters.
You know what? A male can make movies about women, and women can make movies about male. It's all just about like, if the story is good.
One of my picks made 2 of my picks. Heck, they've made movies about men.
Yeah, but that's the
it's all about the story.
That's the thing. I commend her for doing that. That she was comfortable enough to like go into the very male dominated genre of punk and like record it and like send it out there. And we're like that she was able to make a really fun movie about 2 dudes just being themselves and having fun and having a blast. Yeah. And it's like, I know not all of her movies are critical darlings, but it's I think I just enjoy her style. I like how inventive she was, especially with stuff like Wayne's World, where it's like every single scene just moves and has like such a visual kick to it, especially like the advertisement scene with all the product placements. That's glorious. I'll always look back on scenes like that. But overall, I like her work. I wish she would get back into it, but if she wants to retire, she's done quite a lot of good things. And that's my last pick of the night.
Cool. All right,
Cody.
Oh, okay.
It's your turn.
So my first pick is director Lynne Ramsay.
Nice. I like her.
You know me, I kind of moody-ish films to a certain extent, but I do like kind of like visceral, kind of like methodical films that kind of put your head in kind of a mind space. So I tried to find her first film. I forgot that she did a first film way back in the day in 1999 called Ratcatcher.
Oh yeah, I heard about that one.
I haven't seen it yet, so I can't say much about that. But she went on to do several shorts. Mm-hmm. And then she made a big break with the film in 2011 called We Need to Talk About Kevin.
Yes.
So, have you seen this, Lyle?
I have. I've seen most of her movies. So.
Have you seen this, Evan?
No, I haven't. I'm looking up now.
So it's Tilda Swinton and John C. Reilly. They play these parents, and they're kind of like this kind of rich family. And it chronicles the lifespan.
Miller.
Yeah, so it chronicles the lifespan of their son, Kevin, who is played by 3 different actors throughout 3 different periods of Kevin's life. Mm-hmm. And Ezra Miller plays the teenage Kevin. And he...
Didn't one of our friends make this joke when Ezra Miller got arrested in Hawaii? It's like, we need to talk about...
I did that. Oh, yeah. We need to talk about Ezra.
Oh, yeah, he's fun. When's that Flash movie coming out? Never.
What are they doing?
Yeah. What between never end. Boy, is this like it takes a disturbing turn, let's just say the least.
It's one of the most candid films about school shooting that I've ever seen.
Jesus.
With an interesting weapon choice.
Yeah, an unconventional one.
Very, very unconventional. Yeah, not interesting. Unconventional is a better word. Yeah. And I thought that was a really great experience. I just loved Tilda Swinton really sells the role in this, where she's just so heartbroken and disgusted, and also just so heartbroken about her son. She has so much guilt, and it's just so many ranges of emotion she shows in this.
She's like always abused by everyone because of the aftermath.
Yeah, it has an interesting structure to it too, where it kind of bounces around.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
I really want to see this.
Yeah, I'd say I'd
recommend it. Yeah.
And the other one that she did in 2017, but I didn't see it until 2018. Actually, I don't know if it was because of festivals or whatever.
A jump!
I don't know.
Whole year.
Oh, I don't know.
The whole year
was oh my god! I always fucked up every time I was trying to say this title. This title always messed me up. So. You were never really here. I was always saying you never really there. You weren't really here. I was all fucked up with this one.
Yeah, I like this one a lot.
This is a good one. So this is Joaquin Phoenix plays this traumatized kind of war vet, and he basically goes around trying to rescue girls that had that were basically kidnapped and were into the sex trafficking.
Sex slaves,
the sex trafficking world, and. Another one of these movies where it's just it feels like a Nicholas Winding Refn film where there's this intensity behind every fucking frame,
and he's a dark person who's desperate to do some good.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now,
I wonder what that reminds me of.
I literally there's a pop talk about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, so a couple years back I came up with an idea for a dark drama where a guy who self-identifies as an incel just hunts down guys who stalk girls in the night and Lyle didn't really like it. I mean, you were kind of hard on the idea, but I just came up with the idea for a script where an incel goes rescuing girls and hunts them from he saves them from sexual predators and he brutally murders sexual predators. So it's
does he expect something in return, or
not really? He just does it.
Okay, then he doesn't sound like an incel.
Okay, yeah. Well, no, like I said, the idea needs fucking work.
But either way, I recommend both of these two actually, because I think there's a lot of strong humanity that isn't sugarcoated in both of these films. I find that, I mean, I guess I'll get to my summary with her. I guess what I like about it is just, again, it feels like not just Nicholas Winding Refn, it just feels like those types of films they're aesthetically beautiful to look at. Mm-hmm. It has this really, out of all these directors that I do love, I think her movies are a lot more violent, and she doesn't, back away from it.
No.
And, I think she does things really well, but she does it so sparingly, though.
I know. I like the way she filmed all the brutal kills, from a CTV monitor.
Yes,
with the
in the hallway scenes. Yeah.
Hard cut. Cut.
She's not really slated to do anything new.
Oh no.
I mean, just another short. She's not really
She's got a Stephen King work under her belt apparently.
The
Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon.
Oh.
Okay, is that a movie or a TV show?
That's based on a Stephen King novel, right?
Yeah, according to this. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so I like her style. It's kind of up my alley, and I find it really inspiring. And it didn't even I was like, oh great, she's a woman, but I was just it didn't matter, it wasn't it wasn't a big deal when I found that out. I was just I think because male filmmakers are so prominent, and you'd think that obviously males would dive into kind of serious shit like this.
I do agree that there is an intensity to female filmmakers
It's different.
Yeah.
It's a different type of intensity.
Yeah, I feel her films are very deliberate in their pacing. Like I find like you were never really here.
You're never really here.
Never really here. It's like
it's hard to remember.
It's a little bit of a tongue twister.
Yeah.
I remember it wasn't really like.
Well, it's hard to remember. Just remember, it was never really here.
It wasn't like gut punching all the time. It was very slow at times.
Yep.
And same with we need to talk about Kevin. I want to see Ratcatcher.
Me too.
I've been meaning to see that for a while.
Me too.
But that's an excellent choice, Cody. I like Lynne Ramsay a lot.
My next pick is Penny Marshall, the late great Penny Marshall.
Oh,
she passed. She wasn't known as an actress before. She was in the famous show Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah.
She played Laverne.
That's
I have not
right.
seen it actually.
I watched it. It's
Is
good.
it good? Yeah.
They do a parody of it in Wayne's World.
Oh,
5,
right.
6, 7, 8. Jamil, Shemazel, Hoffenstead Incorporated. We're gonna do it.
Oh, I forgot about that. Oh my god.
It's funny how that ties together.
Oh my god. But then she made her first break. She started off with a little bit of a rocky start. She did this Whoopi Goldberg vehicle in 1986 called Jumpin' Jack Flash.
Okay.
Which I had not heard of or seen, but I didn't hear good things about it.
Yeah, I want to see everything she's done.
It has average ratings on Letterboxd. It's not great, but not good.
Yeah, it doesn't look that bad.
However, she had a string of 3 great films in a row, starting in 1988 with a classic film that we probably have all seen, Big.
Ding 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 ding
Yep.
ding 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 ding.
I really loved Big.
Yes, Big. We all know the story. It's
The
about
piano.
about a kid. About what?
Lyle and I saw Big right when the pandemic started. It's one of the first movies we watched.
Oh, yeah?
And we were all staying home. Now, interestingly enough, we kind of talked about how the whole love affair in Big doesn't really age that well.
You kind of have to suspend the disbelief. Just
if you suspend the disbelief.
There's one scene Big I wish they cut is when Elizabeth Perkins guides him into her bedroom, and it's implied that they get a little intimate. I'm like, if you just cut that one shot out of the movie, I wouldn't even think about it so much.
Because it's about a kid that wishes he was an adult, and then all of a sudden he wakes up and it's Tom Hanks.
He's Tom Hanks.
Yeah. So, and then what I love about this film is that I love certain types of borderline fantasy films where they really take advantage of their unique premise, and it's not just all that they have is just the premise and then there's nothing left. They take advantage of these opportunities. He gets his own business when he moves to the city. He absolutely scares the shit out of his mother in this. The whole ransom thing.
I feel so bad.
I felt so bad, but it's hilarious though. That's all part of the joke.
It's a light movie. It's very fun.
The dynamic between him and his friend was really well done. Just that kind of
if you guys...
I'll say interesting relationship with the teacher, or not the teacher. Sorry,
the lady,
Elizabeth Perkins. Yes.
Yeah.
It's interesting. We'll just say that, but I don't think they cross any super lines where
the one shot. But that's
one shot.
I already mentioned that, but yeah, no, it's great. And they have Kevin's fucking dad from Home Alone, who's the smarmy business guy.
Robert Loggia is really good in it too.
Oh yeah, Robert Loggia is
Loggia. Sorry, I would say Loggia.
It's not like passing phlegm out of your throat, Cody. It's Loggia.
Yeah, no,
ambrosia.
I think it's a very sweet film at points, and it's very funny, and if it was made today, they would totally fuck it up.
Well, what about Shazam? That's basically the same concept.
Well, no, I mean, I'm saying if they really run to town with that premise, and all they do is just make it zany, and they have no creative ideas, and they just run that one joke in the ground of just, he's a kid that's now older, and that's it. I can so see it being done poorly, is what I'm trying to say.
I think Shazam is the closest you're ever going to get to a remake for
That's
Big,
right.
So.
That's
true, and Shazam was great. I really liked that, but what I'm saying is that it was handled well, the direction.
Yeah,
it was handled very well in terms of like its choices of taking advantage of its premise.
Oh, yeah.
It was smart, and it was dramatic at points, but it didn't have to be too dramatic. It was just enough. It just knew how to find that balance well.
It was really good. I remember watching it a lot when I was a kid.
Me too. And then her next film, and it's quite different in tone from Big, but it's quite different. But we enter Awakenings.
I wanted to see this on Netflix. I saw it was on my list.
Oh, you guys haven't seen this?
No.
Oh, guys,
I keep getting it confused with Insomnia.
This is a gem. Yeah, so this is Robert De Niro and Robin Williams. So Robin Williams plays
Robert and Robin.
He plays this doctor who he works at this kind of institution where there's a lot of people that are in these catatonic conditions.
Yeah, comas?
Yeah. And he develops this drug that can basically free them and revive them from this condition. So they're basically awake momentarily. And Robert De Niro's one of the patients there, and once they come back and they actually have some consciousness, Robin Williams knows that this drug can only last a certain while, but he thinks these people deserve to have a little bit of a time to live a normal life of being awakened essentially.
Right. Now, and this movie came before another very similar movie that Robin Williams did about the medical industry called Patch Adams. You don't like Patch Adams?
No? I take that. I take that as a no.
Well, apparently it's based on the story of a real guy, and apparently the real guy
hates the film. Yeah, no. Robin Williams is not an uttering buffoon that's just let loose in this one. This is one of Robin Williams' serious dramatic roles.
The antithesis of Patch Adams.
He's not ravingly good, Good Will Hunting great in this movie. He's just a really solid, good actor in it.
I was gonna say, he looks a lot like the character he played in Good Will Hunting.
Yeah, he got the beard.
It's actually Robert De Niro who steals the show.
Oh, yeah, he does? So he's the one who was catatonic, but then gets the treatment.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah, he's one of them. There's several people. There's several patients in the film that it happens to.
Yeah, check this out.
Yeah, it's been on my list for a while.
It's based on a book that was apparently based on a true story. That's great.
Really?
But the screenwriter, it's Steven Zillian. You guys familiar with Steven Zillian?
Oh, no, what has he done?
Oh, Jesus Christ. He's written...
Jesus Christ,
he's written so many great films. Look at Steven Zillian.
Steven Zillian's made a million movies.
Schindler's List.
Oh, my God.
Mission Impossible. Gangs of New York. American Gangster. Moneyball. The Irishman. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo remake. And the creator of a really good miniseries on HBO called The Night Of.
Oh, fuck.
Excellent writer. It's very well written. It's very well written. And it's dramatic. And it has, tender, sentimental done right in this movie, I find. And it's a drastic tone from Big. So far I'm ooh, I like this about filmmakers, is when you're kind of versatile. Yeah. Don't make the same movie twice sometimes. That's what I try to encourage. Even me, I try to push that self in me, you make one movie, don't do it again.
No.
You're tracing yourself.
Yeah, Kevin Smith, come on.
Wow.
We really need to see a Clerks 3.
You know what? I love how we're praising female filmmakers, and we just took a giant dump on one of the biggest male filmmakers.
Well, and also you guys are fans of him too. That's funny. Yeah.
No, it's the stuff.
If you seen our Kevin Smith if you listen to our Kevin Smith episode, we give him criticism when it's fair.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, we can't suck the guy's dick, 37 times in a row.
In a row?
Well, apparently I did that with Villeneuve in my Plop Talk.
10 out of 10.
You said Plop Talk.
Plop Talk.
Flop Talk.
Flop Talk.
Flop Talk, okay. Are you going to review flops on Flop Talk?
Oh,
Floppy dong.
Oh.
So what's next?
Yeah, so weird. Yeah, she comes out with a film every 2 years. So in 1992, we got A League of Their Own.
I haven't seen this yet.
This is a very funny movie. So this is just a straightforward sports comedy.
Okay.
So it's about.
I have wanted to see this for the longest time.
This has one of Tom Hanks' best lines ever. There's no crying in baseball. Yeah. He plays an asshole coach of this women's team, women's baseball team. One of the first leagues, and it's kind of ahead of its time in terms of like women not taking shit from like the male authority. Okay. It's really well done. Gina Davis, who else? Rosie O'Donnell, Madonna. They're all good in it.
Lori Petter.
They're all really good in it. I like this. It's like 1 minute it's like mostly so funny, and then it gets to points where it actually like takes a hard turn of drama where you're like, oh, and then it goes kind of back up to comedy. But again, just kind of a different tone than Big, actually, and of course Awakenings. But it kind of feels like she came full circle in a way with this one. Okay. Kind of that drama from Awakenings, but the comedy from Big. It's like she finds like a very nice ebb and flow with that. With this one,
oh, that's great.
I can't remember too much of it, the details, but it's really good, and I recommend these three to you.
Now, really I will watch both. I've seen Big. I would love to see A League of Their Own and Awakenings at some point. But my watch there's actually a movie I'd like to recommend to both of you if you guys like Penny Marshall. That is Renaissance.
Oh, Man. Yeah, Sean brought that up in one Pop Talk, or so to speak, or whatever.
Oh, yeah, the music one, right?
That's the one, yeah.
Renaissance Man actually isn't about music. Renaissance Man is about a guy who takes a temp. He's a down on his luck businessman played by Danny DeVito. Takes a temp job teaching an English class at an army base, and he teaches the kids to fall in love with Shakespeare.
Okay,
it's a simple movie, but it's very heartfelt. Like he gets the soldiers who are otherwise like dumb grunts to fall in love with literature through Hamlet. It's actually quite heartfelt.
She also did The Preacher's Wife and Riding in Cars with Boys. I haven't heard any of that.
If they're all military men, do they all stand up on their desk and go, "Oh, Captain, my Captain"?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's not quite like that.
That'd be an easy scene.
They do something even better than that.
Even better than Dead Poets Society?
Oh, yeah.
I have to see Renaissance Man now.
Yeah.
It's weird. She came out with a film every 2 years. But
maybe not quite as epic, but it's still pretty cool.
But Renaissance Man and Preacher's Wife, it's like she was on a streak ever since 1988 with Big, 2 years later Awakenings, 2 years later after that A League of Their Own, and then 2 years later after that is Renaissance Man.
Yeah.
And right after that, 2 years later, The Preacher's Wife.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we know about these other ones? I don't know.
Renaissance Man actually almost made my list of one of the films I would talk about in an underrated movies episode. It's really good.
Okay.
Because it came and went,
but
no one really talked about it anymore.
But. She did retire, but unfortunately at the age 75, she struggled with diabetes for a long time, and it was just complications from that sadly took her life.
And just full disclosure, my Miss Botts in Some Enchanted Evening, the last episode of season 1 of The Simpsons, was my introduction to Penny Marshall.
Oh, the Babysitter Bandit.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
And do you think when she's directing, you think she ever comes up with someone difficult? It's like, and I don't even know what I would do in this situation because everyone's always done what I say.
Yeah.
And then someone just turns on the camera and starts recording her film.
Yeah. She's like a super hardcore, James Cameron wannabe.
Oh.
I guess we haven't really talked about, the theory behind how they act on set. Each of these filmmakers. But
well, because we're just going by what we see on the screen.
Or what we hear about.
We've never been in working relationships with them. But,
yeah.
Yeah, but, I guess that's a good thing if you're not hearing any negative things. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, who's next? I think you're on your last one now.
I am on my last one. All right, so I have Adrienne Shelly. So don't look up too much right now, Evan, because this is a story actually. Okay, so Adrienne Shelly, she started off as an actress in the 90s. She was in, apparently, I didn't even hear about this, and I do want to see it, but she was very well known for doing a performance in this movie called Trust.
Okay.
In the early 90s. I don't know anything about it. It's a very, low budget, Miramax, one of the, first Miramax films or something like that. And apparently there's a horror story where some of the producers... Oh, God, I can't believe I'm name-dropping this name in the Females Director podcast, but one by the name of Harvey Weinstein.
I knew he was going to fucking come up. So sorry, ladies.
Encouraged nudity to be in this film Trust.
Oh, this guy was a sleazeball.
He encouraged it. He's this movie needs more tits. What the fuck?
Did you know that there is a joke. When Ben Affleck and Matt Damon pitched Good Will Hunting to Harvey Weinstein, they wrote a random ass scene about blowjobs, and then when Harvey gave the notes, it's like, yeah, I don't understand this blowjob scene. Oh, that we just threw that in there because we wanted to make sure you were reading the script. It's like they knew this guy was a fucking pig.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
So she was finding roles that where she kind of felt a bit like I don't fit this well, like she kind of got churned off about it, but she wanted to do her own thing. Like she was a very inspiring storyteller, and she had a unique voice at such an age where that was like the 90s. Like she really tried to strive to get something going. So she came out with a few really independent films that she finally got off the ground, directing and writing and starring herself, like Sudden Manhattan. I haven't seen it. Don't know anything about it, but I want to watch it. I'm sorry. These are so underground. Yeah. Another one being I'll Take You There.
Yeah.
I think she's in that too, but she doesn't star in it. Yeah. So then, guys, I take it to last summer when Veronica and I were just at home, whatever, and she's like, we're flipping through Disney Plus, and she's like, oh my God, this movie called Waitress is on there. Have you seen this movie, Cody? I'm like, I have not heard this at all. So Waitress from 2007. It stars Kerry Russell. She plays, Kerry Russell, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, this is probably her best performance. She plays this waitress that's on this at this roadside diner. Yeah. She's married to this asshole guy, abusive husband. She doesn't know how to escape from him, and then she meets a doctor played by Nathan Fillion, actually.
Oh.
And Nathan Fillion is a guy that just completely awakens her out of her depression and just cynicism, but she's also somebody that's really headstrong. It's a character driven story. But I'm watching this movie and I'm like, this has such a unique tone.
Yeah.
It balances out comedy, and it's it takes tragedy and suffering that a lot of women, right, specifically what they have to deal with sometimes if they're in an abusive relationship, and she kind of uses comedy as a magnifying glass to kind of get deeper in and kind of just almost laugh at the absurdity, but to try to find the bittersweetness in life and all that. And I thought it was such a unique voice. And Adrienne Shelly also plays a side character in the film as well, right?
Okay.
I watched this film. I'm like, Veronica, I was like, that was such a gem. I can't believe I haven't heard this at all. And I looked up Adrienne Shelly. She died at the age of 40, and she was murdered.
Jesus Christ.
So there's a documentary that I recommend everybody watching that's on, if you have Crave, if you're in Canada, Crave HBO, or if you have HBO Max. It's called Adrienne. It's a documentary about her, and it's directed by her husband. So in the fall of 2006... I think it was Halloween was the last time they celebrated as a family. She had a fucking 2-year-old at the time, right?
Aww.
And a few days later, they had a separate apartment that was only used for just her office, right? That she spent time doing there, and they had just wrapped up finishing Waitress, right? It was days away from getting accepted at Sundance. Actually, they submitted it, right? And the husband was repeatedly calling her because she'd stay at this office because it's kind of like an apartment. She's not answering her phone. He's just getting butterflies, in his stomach. He's worried. He goes to the office, and she's hanging from the fucking
shower.
The shower. Yeah.
Wow.
So she committed suicide, right?
Mm.
So, and there was there's no way. Adrienne, everybody, her mother, the husband was there's no way. She was the happiest woman alive. There's no way that she killed herself. And upon a little bit of investigation,
they found a footprint.
It turns, they found a foot. You did some research.
I did. I'd never heard of her before, so I want to learn a lot.
So they found a footprint. Someone did come in, and they it was a footprint in the bathtub. They traced it. So apparently, it was some guy who was a painter or some a guy who was a maintenance guy at the apartment.
Guy, yeah.
He was fucking just working one day at a floor below the apartment that she was at, and this guy was desperate for money at the time, that he was just robbing apartments, and all he wanted to do was rob to get money, right? And she just happened to be in the room at the same time that she was, and she's trying to fight back apparently, and this is all coming from the husband, who later on in this doc goes to see this guy face to face. Like, imagine that.
Yeah.
Like, him trying to get, like, the story out, like, what the fuck happened. He says he's regretted it ever since. This guy, like, he murdered her, but, like, still, it's not, it
seemed like it was kind of like just a bad coincidence kind of thing.
It's a terrible coincidence, and they had to stop recording because
it escalated so quickly.
He's like, I had enough talking with you. Like it was, but like her daughter, like the documentary was really well done, where it's both talking about the investigation, but also like chronicling like or going through like Adrienne's life. So get this, the week of when they found her body, Waitress gets accepted to Sundance.
Wow.
So the family and the cast are just like, we gotta go. Like the following January and 2020, it was 2007. Yeah, they go there. The husband brought her ashes and actually like scattered them on the street at Sundance and in the theater.
Wow.
Like a piece of her was there actually.
Wow.
And Waitress got such a critical, great response as well. Like they just they felt like she was there.
Wow.
And also, the husband said, when he was scattering her ashes, some of it landed on Harvey Weinstein. And no, but like the husband was like, I had this feeling that Adrienne was just right with me, and that she was just laughing her ass off that just happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And Waitress has gone on to develop a cult following to the point that it's actually like it's a Broadway play now. Like people actually adapt it into a full on live action, like, or not live action, sorry, like a musical is what I meant to say.
Mm-hmm.
And it's developed such a reputation, guys. I highly recommend it. It's a fucking gem.
I need to see this.
It's a sweet film. And Adrienne Shelly, I'm watching this like, you fucking got taken from us way too soon.
Mm-hmm.
Like she almost could have went on to do something really special. Like that's a first film, and you can tell. But it was a really good first film, and had she gone on to do a second, a third, she would have left a fucking legacy. Like it's fucking depressing. It's fucking really sad.
Yeah.
Like I got so fixated by her afterwards. Like, and what's so funny is recently I actually did just discover that documentary with Veronica, and we were literally crying afterwards. Like,
wow.
Like
it's so uncommon to see directors like murdered.
At the age of 40 years old.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think there's an award now for films that tackle domestic abuse against women, and it's named after her.
Yeah, and the husband actually developed a foundation that's the Adrienne Shelly Foundation that supports women that are in abusive relationships.
Oh, wow.
And also women filmmakers as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. Yeah,
that was an excellent shout out, Cody.
Yeah,
I was not aware of her until you brought her up in the chat.
Yeah, me neither.
It's her story is quite good, and she left behind a fucking gem.
Mm-hmm. And it's on Disney Plus. We have no excuse. We should.
Do it. It's a little.
Waitress, I'll check it out.
It's just a little film that was under Fox Searchlight that I guess it was probably a very awkward and unfortunate stigma, and why no one talks about it. It just kind of like came and went, and it shouldn't have just came and went to like modern audiences. But no one has ever heard of Adrienne Shelly, and I admire her. I want to know more about her. Actually, the doc really turned me on to her and how unique she was. She was described as a woman because she was a very small, petite, energetic woman, but she acted like an elderly woman. Mm-hmm. She had like the spirit of someone who was a lot older.
Oh,
it's
wise beyond her years.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, this was really nice, fellas. I enjoyed this.
Yeah.
We were gentlemen.
Yes.
We were gentlemen. We, of course, got to give some recognition.
Yeah, and I hope to see more works from a lot of these talented individuals.
See, that's what I mean. There's always, like, it's either filmmakers and it's unfortunate. I don't know how this fucking system works, but it's usually, like, great female directors do like one or two great films, but they don't have they have yet to create like a huge body of work.
Yeah, I know, because we have talked about people like Cameron, Tarantino, and all that. And
Spielberg,
and decades-long careers. But you're right, not many. There aren't too many that actually break that barrier and have more than like 5 films to their name.
And it's not Katheryn Bigelow is a great example of that, but that's not a criticism. It's more just something we encourage to see a little bit more. You know, like it needs to happen more.
I mean, there's others like Agnes Varda. I hear a lot in like circles, especially with the Criterions. They have like huge collection of her work.
Yeah,
and her most recent film before she passed away is like in mid 2010s. So there's others than that. I was very tempted to talk about Amy Heckerling as well.
She did Clueless
and Look Who's Talking. Yeah. I was tossed between her and Penelope Spheeris, but I picked Penelope because Wayne's World, yes. Clueless, not really for me, but a lot of people love that one too.
It's the '90s Mean Girls,
basically. Yes. Chloe Zhao was doing pretty well for herself. She got Nomadland Best Picture.
I mean, that's great.
Haven't seen her other like
indie films. Am not. She made my least favorite MCU movie.
It's kind of like a Wrinkle in Time scenario. Eternals is terrible. But
but if you put a gun in my head and forced me to watch either Eternals or Wrinkle in Time, I'd pick Wrinkle in Time. And Wrinkle in Time actually. Things happen in Wrinkle in Time.
Yeah, I mean,
Eternals is just boring.
Ultimately,
and overly long.
Anyone can make a bad movie, and sometimes it's not always. It's not always.
Well, like I said earlier, give women this job of directing a movie more often.
Two runner-ups that I had actually. Well, I mean Nancy Meyers. Do you know Nancy Meyers?
No,
yeah, I know Nancy Meyers.
So I think one of the first movies
my mom is a big fan of hers, and
what has she done?
Well, the remake of The Parent Trap from the '90s, the Lindsay Lohan movie.
Nice.
Yeah, like Nancy Meyers did that. I really liked that movie growing up. Actually,
she's.
I like the way it was handled. How it wasn't just like so zany all the time. It actually had a pretty tight story and performances.
The movies of hers that I know of are more targeted at folks in their middle years,
Something's Gotta Give.
Something's Gotta Give. Yep. What Women Want.
What Women Want's actually a good one. Yeah.
Okay.
The other one, I you know what? Someone who I'm actually going to follow now because I've liked everything she's done so far. She was such a close runner-up for me. Is Greta Gerwig.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
Lady Bird was a gem. That was a nice. That was a nice little coming-of-age movie. I really liked her adaptation of Little Women.
Mm-hmm.
She kind of like stuck true.
My dad really liked that too.
She really. Stayed true to the source material, the Jane Austen book.
It's even meta-contextual as well because of the wraparound story of like how the author actually wrote the book.
But it's also very modernized, but not too distractingly modernized. And, guys, get this. She's coming out with a Barbie movie starring Margot Robbie.
Oh, yeah.
And Ryan Gosling plays Ken. And not only is she directing it, she's co-writing it with Noah Baumbach, who did Marriage Story.
They're married, right?
Oh, are they?
I think so.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and apparently there's a meme going around about that saying that Aqua's Barbie girl is apparently not going to be anywhere in the movie, and then everyone's like, what a fucking wasted opportunity!
Okay, she's dating Noah Baumbach. They're partners.
Oh, okay.
Since 2011. So
yeah, okay.
That's his hall.
I don't know what studio is under this Barbie movie's belt, but please don't butcher this. You got like some talented, unique voices.
I feel like she'll do a good job.
Please don't.
Voices, like it's live action, isn't it?
No, voices like
professional.
Voices like talents. Don't fuck this up. That sounds unique. It could be another Lego movie or something like that.
I'm very fond of Nora Ephron as well.
So we're going through honorable mentions. And stuff like
she
that.
did
kind of runner-ups because I was thinking about who I could talk about.
She did Sleepless in Seattle. You've got Mail.
Oh right, yeah,
Michael.
Yep. Did we? Okay, Lyle and I
wrote When Harry Met Sally.
Who? Rob Reiner did When Harry Met Sally.
She wrote.
Oh, okay.
When Harry Met.
That makes sense.
Sally.
But what's crazy is Lyle and I actually saw You Got Mail for the first time last year, and we're like, this is a whimsical but horribly mean-spirited movie. The guy, a woman falls in love with the man. Explain a film plot badly. A woman falls in love with a man who puts her out of business.
Yeah, that's the one thing that doesn't hold up. But I like the acting in that one.
But it's Tom Hanks. The guy is so delightfully...
Fall and autumn, so nice.
It's nice to the movies. Yeah.
Now,
There's nothing wrong with watching nice to the movies.
I want to put out... I want to
drink a nice cup of tea.
I want to point out some...
You go see it in the theater, and it's all a bunch of moms and grandmas.
Yeah.
Now,
it smells like church.
Now.
In the theater, it smells like church in the theater.
And
everyone comes out and they go, "Oh, that was such a good movie.
It was so nice.
Now,
so nice."
Can I point out something that I know some connections between a lot of our movies. So
sure,
several of these movies that were discussed have Tom Hanks, Big, and A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Several of these movies have Chris Pine, A Wrinkle in Time, the Wonder Woman films, and oddly enough, I feel like there are more connections I could think of, but
I'm sure.
Yeah, but yeah, I know it just goes to show it's a small industry. All the people work on the same.
Yeah. Have we called it?
Yeah, we've called it. We covered a lot.
I think I've said my piece.
Okay, ladies. Keep on making great films. Keep Hollywood film industry in general. Just keep on producing these amazing, talented ladies, and yeah, we'll always be there, and we'll see you at the movies.
No matter who you are, where you come from, if you love movies and you want to make them, you fucking do it, and don't let anything stop you.
Yeah, the world is your oyster.
Yeah. Have a good night.